Has never happened before, and this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad, and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Taylor.
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price.
We shall pay any price.
Bear any burden.
Bear any burden.
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
Meet any hardship.
To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man. You've been hearing me talk about SuperBeats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why SuperBeats? You could take it from me. The benefits of SuperBeats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind SuperBeats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But SuperBeats does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of SuperBeats has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Howie and try out SuperBeats yourself. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. I've seen a lot of Anchor cupcakes in my day. Here are some of the latest network nitwits.
And he says, if I'm elected president, I will push for a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on all members of Congress. Correct me, there already are term limits, so what does he mean?
And what are we hearing in the background? Is that shelling?
No, Katie, you're actually hearing that from here in Jerusalem, and it's actually fireworks going off right behind me.
We're in our tribes, we're in our corners most of our lives. I think we just heard some gunshots. Should we listen to that for a second, control room? So that's not gunshots? Okay. Ivanka is not the second lady. She is actually, I don't think she deserves this position. She's actually a senior advisor to the president. So the idea that he would demean...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Okay.
They're the same picture.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence last week, somehow we're wrong.
Unchained and unstoppable.
A lot of people have drank the poison of white supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump represents.
Did you mean for all those words to come out together, or did they just fall out randomly?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Have drank. I believe that would be have drunk. But hey, who's counting? It's AOC, you know? All right. 844-500-4242. I have a confession to make. I have not been following very closely the historic debate on the House floor this afternoon about impeachment 2-0 or 3-0, whatever it is. But as I walked in the studio today, I noticed that one of the TV sets was on, and I watched a Democrat Solon, a statesman, speaking. I couldn't, I can't. That's another reason I'm not watching it, because the Democrats are all wearing masks, because that's their current virtue signaling, one of the many forms of virtue signaling. So you can only hear, but I saw underneath the chyron, and that identified the speaker, who was shocked and appalled and was speaking out on behalf of the United States Constitution and the rule of law and order as Representative Gregory Meeks, Democrat, South Queens. Okay. I would advise you, if you don't know who Representative Gregory Meeks, South Queens is, go just Google it, Gregory Meeks scandal, and you'll be amazed at the stories that come up. I'll just give you 3 of them that come up. This from the New York Times. Representative Meeks cries poor, but he lives the good life. Another story that comes up if you Google Gregory Meeks scandal, he's deeply appalled and shamed and humiliated that President Trump is the leader of the free world still. Queens Rep Gregory Meeks under House investigation for possible ethics violations. Okay, want another one? Meet the most corrupt congressman, possibly ever. So these are the people who are leading the charge. You have Nancy Pelosi, and I'm going to tell you about how I'll tell you later how Twitter censored me when I tried to post a story about Nancy Pelosi's father. Apparently, he was under investigation by the FBI for his mob ties. The FBI just dropped some more documents on January 6th, a week ago today, the day of the protests, the riots. But you can't post anything about that on Twitter. I know you're shocked, but I'll fill you in on it a little bit later. Others taking part, Adam Schiff, the very ethical Adam Schiff, who's been leaking classified information, allegedly, it appears, and who has had his picture taken with various Democrat worthies who were like Mr. Buck out in Southern California, who's now under indictment for allegedly killing gay escorts by giving them drug overdoses, among other things. Eric Swalwell, he's one of the House managers for impeachment. Eric Swalwell, who slept with a communist Chinese spy, had a sexual relationship with her, but nobody ever mentioned it until just very recently. He actually ran for president. He gives new meaning to the old James Bond novel and book, The Spy Who Loved Me. Jerry Nadler, he's involved in this as well. Jerry Nadler from New York. Another one from New York City, like Gregory Meeks. I think Nadler's from the west side of Manhattan. He's the one who said last summer that Antifa didn't exist, that it was a myth. Okay, so I'm just giving you the reasons why I'm not taking this too seriously. 844-500-4242. So Pelosi, now you may remember this. We have a cut from Gomer quoting Pelosi's words from last summer. I assume he's going to refer to, I think the quote is, when she was asked about the rioting and the looting and the arson, the billions of dollars in damage that Antifa and Black Lives Matter were doing, the Democrat voters, and how they were running amok. They were actually killing people. And she said people are going to do what people are going to do. That's what she said. Let's play Louis Gohmert, Republican from the 1st District of Texas, talking about Pelosi, what she said then as opposed to what she's saying now. Cut 24.
I just don't even know why there aren't more uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. Sadly, the domestic enemies of our voting system and honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in Congress of the United States. We were called enemies of the state. Those are all quotes from our speaker. Now, on our side, we didn't take those to be impeachable because we didn't believe she surely meant that.
Trump didn't call anybody enemies of the people. He called the press enemies of the people on a couple of occasions. I don't think he did it last Wednesday. He said, go down there and peacefully and patriotically demonstrate, right? All right, 844-500-4242-617. Not watching either. If I want to see a bunch of people trying to crucify someone with no evidence, I will watch a passion play next Easter. Yeah, I mean, this whole thing, you know what, this thing, I don't watch passion plays, but I watch old movies. And sometimes I like to watch an old Western. And this really reminds me of the mobs, the old lynch mobs, you know, that this is a high-tech lynching, as Clarence Thomas would say. They're just after him for reasons of wanting to lynch somebody. They don't like him. Show me the man and I will show you the crime. And here it is yet again. First it was the Russian hoax. Then it was the Ukrainian piffle, as Michael Goodwin calls it in the New York Post. And now it's this. All right. 844-500-4242. So, you know, all these New York politicians, though, I mean, you'd think they would have something better to do than try to impeach President Trump on his way out the door. You know, they have some big problems in New York with this vaccine. Have you noticed this? I mentioned it earlier that Cuomo was saying if you vaccinate, he's put in these new regulations that if you vaccinate the wrong person, you can be fined up to $1 million if you're a health clinic. So apparently there was someone from the New York Post who went to a clinic to get a test, probably had to get on an airplane and didn't want to get hassled at the airport or something. So she just wanted to have her little papers in order. So she was getting a test. They were shoving it up the Q-tip up her nose or whatever. And so she or somebody at the clinic noticed that there was an unused vaccine. And I don't know exactly the way it played out, but she ended up getting the vaccine, even though she's not over the age of 75 and she's not a prisoner. They gave the prisoners the vaccines first, of course, just like Massachusetts did. And then they weren't going to give anybody between the ages of 65 and 74 the vaccines until all the quote-unquote first responders, i.e. in New York State union members, public union members, had gotten the vaccine. They changed that yesterday. So the New York Post reporter, who's apparently under 65, got the vaccine. And now the Cuomo administration is threatening to fine the clinic for giving her the vaccine. I don't know if they're going to get the 6-figure fine or the $1 million fine. 844-500-4242. 844-500-4242. Someone says 207 is remembering Judge Roy Bean, the hanging judge in Texas. They made a movie about him, John Huston, starring Paul Newman. It was a great movie for back in the 70s. I don't know if it would fare well, stand up, but he always said, "We'll give him a fair trial and then we'll hang him." They're not even giving him a fair trial, though. Anyway. We'll take your calls here, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. With Joe Biden as our next president, your home heating bills are about to start skyrocketing. But Eden Pure has a heater that will save you up to 50% on your heating bills. It's right behind me there. You see it right over my shoulder. Which way? That way. Yeah. And it is the Eden Pure Gen 30 classic infrared heater. It uses state-of-the-art infrared heat to warm you to the core. It's even been proven to keep you warmer than your furnace and save you money on your heating bills every month. The Gen 30 heater doesn't dry out the air in the room. This helps prevent dry skin. And it's safe totally. If you have pets or young kids around, you don't need to worry about the heater tipping over and catching fire. The Gen 30 heater has an automatic safety tip-over shut-off feature. If you just try to move it around, it'll probably shut off just on its own.
It does. Yeah, if you try to move it around when it's still on, it kicks off. So
yeah,
it's not too sensitive where just a small adjustment is going to knock it off power. But if a kid or a dog or even a cat knocks it over, it's going out.
Right.
But, I do use it in the baby's room, and it's not a dry heat. The baby's fine, loves it, and it's just a great product. I couldn't recommend it any more than I do.
I feel the same way. And look at it. It's not a bad looking product, unlike earlier space heaters. All previous space heaters with real wood surrounding it, it will look beautiful in any of your rooms too. Don't be caught with huge heating bills. Eden Pure is extending their New Year's sale, so go to EdenPure.com and put in code HowieDeal. You'll receive an extra $25 off their lowest sales price and free shipping with code word HowieDeal. This is a great deal, so order now at EdenPure.com. Eden Pure, never be cold again. I'm Howie Carr.
He's suave, he's debonair, he's Howie Carr.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can all see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. Little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed, working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry white guys. Angry white man.
Angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's insult.
They tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo.
Y'all elitists are dead.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at in the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
This is the signal tactic
You're slapped, you'll take it and like it.
Howie Carr is back.
Take advantage of HelloFresh's New Year's sale and get simple recipes and fresh, pre-portioned ingredients delivered to your door contact-free. Right now, get 10 free meals, including free shipping, during HelloFresh's New Year sale with code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. That's code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you plan on leaving Twitter? Yes, no, or I've never been on Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not going to do it immediately because I was going to go to Parler, but Parler's down, so I'm going to stay with it. But I'm watching. I seem to be losing about 2,000 followers a day. So, and again, I'm not complaining. I'm just pointing it out. So I'll get rid. I'm going to leave eventually, especially now that they've censored me. Like, I guess they could have thrown me off. That would have been worse than just being censored and stopped from posting stuff. But they're cracking down on anybody who doesn't toe the party line. So, yes, I'm leaving.
36% say they're leaving. 1% say they're not. 63% say they've never been on Twitter.
All right. 844-500-4242. Let's play one cut from Representative Gates about the hypocrisy here, about what's going on at the Capitol here. Cut 17.
Democrat members of Congress raised funds for groups attacking our police, burning our cities, destroying our businesses, establishing autonomous zones, and they were celebrated as justice warriors. Wednesday, they called for unity, democracy, and healing. Now, just days later, seeking power and political advantage, the Democrats have reverted to the mean. They've gone back to their natural state, the party of impeachment, removal, and division.
Well put. Well put. And here's Nadler. And again, Nadler is the guy who said that Antifa is a myth. Remember, he was waddling around in his district, and some guy came up to him and just asked him flat out, and he didn't know how to respond. And he didn't have a hot dog to stuff in his mouth, so he had to respond to the question. But this is what he's saying. That was what he was saying then. This is what he's saying now. Cut 21.
We will bring the rioters to justice. Their accomplices in this House will be held responsible.
Accomplices.
But today, we must focus on the gravest threat first. President Trump, who incited this riot and who remains a grave danger to the nation.
Gravest of the grave. He incited a riot by asking them to peacefully and patriotically protest. Charlie, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Charlie.
Good afternoon. I just wanted to get the word out that Nancy seems to be all hell-bent and what have you on the codes. Why doesn't my President Trump, turn around and just turn the codes over to the vice president?
I don't think he's going to do that. I want him to declassify everything. Holly Robichaud posted a good column on our website yesterday, HowieCarrShow.com. Declassify everything. They say the CIA has declassified all of its UFO documents, but I'm not buying that they declassified everything. Again, I don't trust the CIA as far as I could throw them. Ditto for the FBI. And I would just like to see President Trump. I don't care, what kind of procedures he has to go through. Just whatever he can declassify, just unredact it and let us see everything. We want to see the reality of what the Democrats tried to do to him. And we're never going to see it if he doesn't do it in the next week or so. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Paul. You there, Paul? Or Fred, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Fred.
Hey, hi, Howie. Can
Hi.
you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So if they convict Trump after he leaves office, right, to try to keep him from running again, what if he runs again and wins? What will the Democrats do? Protest the electoral vote? Have a rally?
I don't know. Well, I mean, they're never going to be able to convict him. They're never going to get 33 or 34 or however many. What would they need? They would need 17 Republican senators to vote to convict him. They're never going to get that. So it's just a moot point. He wants to be Grover Cleveland of the 21st century. He wants to come back and win in 2024. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, given what they're doing to him, I don't know if he would still be a viable candidate. But this is. I don't think this is seriously about trying to stop him from running for president again. This is just about trying to humiliate him and just disinter his political corpse on the way out the door, like the English did with Oliver Cromwell in 1661, or the Massachusetts colonials, the colonists did with King Philip, the king of the chief of the Massasoits back in the same time frame, 17th century. That's what they used to do in primitive times. And the Democrats are they're a primitive bunch. They've always been a primitive bunch. They're the party of secession. They're the party of lynchings. They're the party of Jim Crow. They're the party of massive resistance. That's who they are. Their hero, FDR, appointed a Klansman to the U.S. Supreme Court. He interred over 100,000 Japanese American citizens in World War II. This is what the Democrat Party is. They're always looking for a new group of scapegoats, and that's what it is. 617, I want all the investigative reports on Swalwell and Fang Fang, that's his girlfriend, the Chinese spy, on the front page of the New York Post. Yeah, that would be good too. Declassify all that information. 844-500-4242. 347, the purpose of this impeachment theater is to get sound bites on the nightly news for the low info voters to lap up. And the low info voters, a lot of them have trust funds, and they're living in their parents' basement, and they're just consumed with rage and hatred over the people who work against the people who work for a living. And they're going to give money to these fools. I'm Howie Carr.
Congratulations, New England. You did it. You made it through 2 months of torturous, nonstop, ear-jarring, teeth-clenching, blood pressure-raising radio noise. Those nerve-grating Matthews carols are now just a distant memory, echoing through the canyons of your mind with no sugary aftertaste. But it's a whole new year, and we've come up with whole new ways to annoy you. For example, remember those Matthews carols you thought were just a distant memory echoing through the canyons of your mind? Well, guess what? They're now and forevermore sitting fat, dumb, and happy on the video portion of our wicked awesome website, MatthewsBrothers.com. But they're not the only videos we have out there. We also have videos on such useful topics as understanding condensation, how to properly install one of our windows, and even a video on how to get the sash back into the frame once you've accidentally removed it and there's a storm coming and the factory is closed and your wife is yelling at you to fix it now. We even got one of those. You can learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
But being factually correct is important.
It's absolutely important.
And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with SuperBeats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings of Congresswoman Harris, Congressman Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy doo on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey everybody, Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I got a text message the other day from a friend of mine who is no fan of most of what I've done over the course of the past 10 months.
In the world of Charlie Baker and his friends, the real world of panic porn, political leaders cannot survive without absolute power, and the public can't be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he was texting me from the hospital during a moment when he wasn't on a machine. And he got it at an event where no one wore masks. And he said, now that I have it, I get how brutal this can be.
It's a confusing, nonsensical, follow the science world, but it's the only world they know.
And honestly, I'm scared to death, not just for me, but for my family.
And they're the only friends Charlie Baker has.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. I'm just looking at a text here, 617. I'm just reading Globe article about COVID in the MWRA system. I see the headline, Baker says vaccine will be administered to those in shelters, prisons, and senior housing. Prisons are important. You know, they want to get out of the prison because they're going to be infected. And then they want to do contact tracing if you go anywhere, like to New York or Florida or anywhere, and you come back, they want to contact trace you when you get off the plane because you could be infected from somewhere. Aren't the prisoners the most safe people of all? Because they're not going anywhere. Why are we exposing them to the danger of letting them out of prison? That's what I want to know. Baker and Cuomo are and Newsom, I guess. They're probably the three biggest clowns in the whole mess. Anyway, I think Grace is here with Grace's news.
I am here, Howie, and I have a lot of news to get to. I know that you mentioned this in the first segment about Louis Gohmert and what he said, the Republican representative Louis Gohmert of Texas, and what he quoted Nancy Pelosi on the House floor today. And the quote was, I just don't even know why there aren't more uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. That was a direct quote from the speaker. This was at a different cycle of the news when the left was talking about children being separated from their parents at the border. So I know you know that, Howie, and I know that. But Twitter does not understand that Louis Gohmert was quoting Nancy Pelosi, and they're freaking out. I'm talking blue check marks, saying Louis Gohmert calls for more violent uprisings. And other people say,
"That's
oh
great.
my gosh, holy bleep, is Gohmert encouraging more uprisings? Did I hear that right?"
No, you didn't.
Louis Gohmert literally just asked for Trump supporters to commit violence on live TV prior to the insurrection. Why is he even there?
Is
I do
anyone
not say this lightly.
does anybody I know, does anybody we know say this?
Sarah Reese Jones. These are all political people with blue check marks. Jason Applebaum.
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, no, nobody really does. But I mean, they have blue check marks, and
Grace,
I don't.
how about the fact that it took them 9 months to get $600 to all these Americans whose lives have been terribly impacted by the panic, right? And Nancy Pelosi, by her own admission, held up the $600 that a lot of people needed. There are a lot of scammers, but a lot of people needed that money. But it only takes them 8 days or maybe 8 minutes to impeach Donald Trump over something he didn't really do.
Yeah, they're calling it a snap impeachment. And Howie, I think it's amazing that all Republicans, it doesn't matter who, across the board, all Republicans condemned what happened at the Capitol. But the Democrats are really doubling down on not condemning the riots like that happened over the summer. You'd think that people like Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo would say, listen, we have to kind of be consistent here. All violence is bad. But I saw on CNN last night, they were both justifying it to each other. The two brainiacs, one was saying, oh, no, this was for racial change and justice and all of these things. And it's just, there's no consistency.
I said in my column last week, Grace, some riots are more equal than others. I was paraphrasing George Orwell. And it's definitely true, isn't it?
It's so true. And John Hinderaker from Powerline Blog had a really good post on that as well. He said, good riots versus bad riots. It's remember how CNN, I said this today during my show, but remember CNN had that ad that said, this is an apple. And they had the apple standing there and it said, this is an apple, this is a banana, whatever it was. It's like they act as if they can call things out when they see it, but they can't. They're so blinded by hatred for Donald Trump that they can't even, and it makes them so short-sighted. They can't see anywhere beyond Orange Man. It's really pathetic. But it's catching on because the third bank has officially cut ties with Trump in the wake of the Capitol riots.
Oh, yeah. I got a whole list I'm going to read of people who have and institutions that have gone after him. Did you see that the city of New York is going to cancel all of its contracts with the Trump organization? They amount to $17 million, and the Trump people say they're going to fight it in court. There is a alderman in Chicago who has he's going to file legislation to force the Trump name off one of the skyscrapers in Chicago. In West Palm Beach, Grace, they've already done that. They took, it was apparently adversely affecting property values on these two high-rise buildings on the Intercoastal Waterway that had Trump's name on it. So they just took down the names. But now this woke alderman wants to force the name off. I mean, do any property rights still apply anywhere? Do any First Amendment rights apply anywhere?
No, the answer is no, to tell you the truth, Howie. And honestly, it's amazing to me that in a place like New York, where they have so much to worry about, their list of priorities is so deranged. They should not be worrying about anything to do with Trump or his businesses or his banks or his buildings. They should be worried about their vaccine rollout and trying to revive what used to be the biggest cultural spot in the world and is now completely gone. I mean, it's like a ghost town there. That's what they should be worried about.
Well, now they're pivoting. Brian Jundeep, our friend out in Denver, the physician, had a great column today about how they're pivoting now away from the lockdowns because Joe Biden is about to become president. They're probably gonna change the way they conduct these, what do they call them, PCR or PRC tests, so that they'll be showing fewer positives, and so they'll say that's Biden's doing rather than just changing the protocol for testing, and now they say they have to reopen the schools and all this stuff. I just got a text to Grace. Great things are happening in Massachusetts. 3 or 4 restaurants that I frequent are refusing to abide by the 25% capacity rule. Another restaurant has 2 huge banners outside telling Baker to only take 25% of his salary. I want a, will 781, will you send me the name of that restaurant? I'd like to get some pictures of that restaurant with those two signs saying, telling Baker to only take 25% of his salary because he only wants the restaurants up to have 25% of his salary. And somewhat 508, Grace, there's an old saying, I think it's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. So you can't expect consistency from Democrats and their Democrat operatives with press passes in the media.
I totally agree. And speaking of no consistency, you make this point a lot, Howie, that when you bring in a new administration and it's a Democrat, you stop hearing a lot of those go-tos. It's usually the grim milestone, people who are dying overseas in war, that they stop reporting on that. And right now, it's obvious, like you just said, they're gonna lower the cases. It's not going to be as crazy. It's not going to be, we've reached a peak. Everything's going to go smoother now that Joe Biden's in office. But I noticed two other things that came back in fashion. And this is the thing about the Democrats. They're so quick. They think our memories are so small because we are credulous boomer rubes. So how long can we remember this stuff for? Nancy Pelosi was quoting Abraham Lincoln today. I did not know that was back in fashion. I didn't know Abe Lincoln
I thought we were taking his statues down.
Right, but
then we did it in Boston in Park Square.
Joe Biden's president-elect, Howie. That means Honest Abe is honest once more. And another thing I wanted to tell you is, I don't know if you saw this. So Nancy Pelosi was on the House floor today, and she was, making her spiel or whatever. And she addressed herself as a mother, as a wife, as the daughter of someone who was in Congress. All of these pronouns and titles that I thought we weren't supposed to be using anymore. I thought that was part of her, gender neutral ban, that you weren't supposed to be a mother or a wife. You were supposed to be a person,
a spouse, a sibling.
Right. So that's back in fashion now too. Now you can be a wife and a mother again, or you can be a father or a husband. You couldn't be one a week ago, but now that's back because they're trying to, really sell their case.
Again, Grace,
for impeachment.
Consistency. The hobgoblin of small minds.
It's so true. And lastly, Howie, can I end on a little bit of a happier note?
What's that?
Crocs. Crocs have made a huge quarantine comeback.
Crocodiles?
No, Crocs the shoes.
Oh.
But honestly, Crocs.
I was going to say,
how
are Crocs benefiting from the lockdown?
Howie's like, I didn't know they left. The Proudly Ugly utility shoe brand, favored by everyone from Justin Bieber to your average home gardener, expects to report, Howie, this is kind of amazing, a fourth quarter revenue spike from $407 to $410 million for 2020. They've had a 25% bump in they're expecting a 25% bump in 2021. Isn't that crazy? There are some businesses that have thrived during the pandemic, and Crocs are one of those businesses.
Yeah, and another one is Amazon. And again, we're encouraging all of our listeners, if you could buy products directly from the people who are providing the product, the business, the retail, even if it's a retailer, don't use Amazon if you can, because Amazon is trying to shut us down.
And you know what I noticed, Howie, is that the big pull for Amazon for a lot of people is the free shipping. But a lot of these companies now offer that as well. Right. A lot of companies are, they're trying to meet the market and figure out how to get people to buy from them. So they offer free shipping or coupons or whatever. So if you can try to make the effort, even if it's just a little bit, we got to hit them where it hurts, and that's their pocketbook.
Right. And we had the free shipping deal yesterday on Kennedy Babylon, the two books. That deal, it was a one-day only deal with Howie Carr Prime, but we'll try to come up with some other stuff for Howie Carr Prime. Maybe some of my other books later in the week or next week. But
exactly.
We'll work on it.
Howie, could I give one plug?
Yes.
Everyone make sure you tune in to Howie's lead-in, Grace Curley, at The Grace Curley Show from 12 to 3 on RKO and from 1 to 3 on a lot of Binney stations in New Hampshire. We always have a lot of great guests and a lot of great content.
All right, Grace, you're doing a great job. And I just talked to my barber. I made an appointment, and I called it about 2:30, and he said, I'm watching Grace. And he said, if I dare say that she's doing a better job than you are, Howie. And I said, I'm not offended because, you know what, I own the show.
That's so true. Otherwise, you'd be nervous that you're being Wally pipped.
Wally pipped or maybe Donald Killeen or Wimpy Bennett. That would be even worse than being Wally Pip.
It's all under the Howie Carr Show umbrella, guys. So Howie's all for it.
All right. Thank you, Grace. We'll take some calls when we come back. 844-500-4242. We're all looking for ways to save money, right? Especially now. So let me ask you this. How would you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabby customers save per year on average on home and car insurance. That's why when I was shopping for insurance, I used Gabby. This is the time of year we go shopping for insurance as we're trying to cut our expenses down. Well, Gabby takes the pain out of shopping for insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers, including Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers. Just link your current insurance account, and in just minutes, you'll be able to see the quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. That's what I did. It was fast and it was easy. I mean, a lot of us, like myself, we got our insurance a very long time ago. Maybe when we just bought our first house, or just got our driver's license and got a cheap car. You got your father's insurance agent, and he's long gone now, but you've still got the same insurance. It's time to check it out. Check out the alternatives. You can save money. I logged in with my current insurance, and I was shown dozens of different quotes, and I saved, I think, about $500 or $600 just on my car insurance alone. As I mentioned earlier, Gabby customers save $961 per year on average. I bet that would be nice to have in your pocket every year. If they can't find you savings like they did for me, they'll let you know so you can relax knowing you have the best rate out there. The longer you've had your insurance policy, the more likely it is Gabby can help you out. And they'll never sell your info, so no annoying spam or robocalls. You're probably overpaying on car and home insurance. See how much Gabby can save you. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligation. Go to Gabby.com/Howie. That's GABI.com/Howie. GABI.com/Howie. Gabby.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you today in part by Nauset Beach Inn. Open this winter for the first time in 63 years.
Taylor.
Take advantage of their ocean view room rate.
Yes.
Did you see that text I just got? I asked him to send me the name of the place that has a big sign outside saying, Baker, take 25% of your salary.
Lionville Tavern.
Yeah, can you call and see if that's true? I don't want to say anything till we know it's true, but I'd love to have them on the show.
Sure.
And I'd love to have them send us a picture that we could tweet out or post online if it's true. All right. I'm sorry. Just have Matt do it or somebody do it. Okay.
I can take care of it. No problem.
Okay. Thanks.
Engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. And I talked to Chuck last night to say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. to secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children.
To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. Cannot measure the health of our children.
If the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Say what you will about him.
He's a common ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English. He doesn't even speak good English.
He's Howie Carr, and he's here to stay.
844-500-4242. How classic is that Louis Gohmert quotes Nancy Pelosi from last summer, and now he's being accused of inciting an insurrection by quoting her words. If it weren't for double standards, they'd have no standards at all. And speaking of double standards, let's play a cut from Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan. And of course, he's being torched by the moonbats of the Buckeye State and of the Twitter universe. But he's right on top of things. Cut 16.
Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats object to more states in 2017 than Republicans did last week, but somehow we're wrong. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence this summer, the violence last week, somehow we're wrong.
So true. So true. Paul, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Howie, I was just thinking that it's a fine line between prosecution, persecution, and creating a martyr. I could see Trump wearing all this like a badge of honor and starting another party.
Yeah. I don't know if it'd be, certainly among those of us who voted for him, he could end up being a martyr. And you're right. There is a thin line between persecution and prosecution. And given AOC's, unease with the English language, I'm surprised that she didn't refer to the prosecution as persecution today herself. I don't know how I feel about a third party, but we just gotta see how things unfold here. I'm still not sure that I believe that Mitch McConnell is really all in on this impeachment. I'm kind of surprised, though, that they're up to 6 Republicans are going to vote for impeachment. And some of them are the usual suspects, like Kinzinger from Illinois and Dick Cheney's daughter from Wyoming. But some of them I've never heard of. But still, I'm kind of appalled that the Republicans are going along with this impeachment theater. COVID theater, impeachment theater, everything is a game for the low info voters, it seems like. Phil, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. Hi, Howie. How are you?
Good.
Yes, sir. Thank you for taking my call. Talking about insurrection, they keep talking insurrection. If there is one symbol which was a cause for insurrection, and it was a disgusting symbol and a slap and a disrespectful to the American people or to the voters is when Pelosi ripped off the speech,
right in the State of the Union message last year. Yeah, as Trump was leaving, she tore it up. And some people said that was government property, and that's one of these sort of artifacts, as it were, and that she could have been charged with destroying government property. Yeah, but again, she's a Democrat, so there are no standards. But thanks for pointing that. I'd neglected to think about that for a while. Samantha, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Samantha.
Hi, Howie. I appreciate that you taking my call. I'm from the Cape. I live in Harwich. I'm just calling regarding Nate Nicholson. It's been in the paper down here in the Cape, and
right.
I know you had him on your show. I mean, he's having a hell of a time. I mean, people have turned his back on him. They're boycotting the business. I mean, talk about freedom of speech. He should be able to feel how he wants. I mean, they're taken to task the fact that you asked him, how was it? And he said, yeah, it was a good time. Well, I'm sure he wasn't one of the people breaking in.
He wasn't. He didn't know about it. He didn't know about it. Most of the people that were there didn't even know about what happened until they got back to their hotel room or got on social media. Nate Nickerson, we stand behind him 100%. The good news for Nate is his business is closed until the late spring. So I think he's going to make it. I talked to him again last night. He seems to be doing better. I'm Howie Carr.
Nauset Beach Inn is open for the first time this winter. Take advantage of their ocean view room rate of only $100. All rooms have 2 queen beds and they're pet friendly too. Nauset Beach Inn is the only hotel on the Cape Cod National Seashore. Contact-free check-in and check-out. Don't hesitate. These rooms go fast. Reserve now at nausetbeachinn.com. That's nausetbeachinn.com.
Alexander Hamilton said, "Those who stand for nothing will fall for anything." This is Toby from Cape Gunworks. When our founding fathers drafted the Second Amendment, there was no question of its meaning. Today, if you have questions, come to Cape Gunworks for some advice, training, or to send a few rounds downrange. We have a fully stocked pro shop with a huge selection of guns, crossbows, archery, classes, rentals, 15-lane range, and a friendly staff. Come on down to Cape Gunworks, Airport Road, Hyannis, or capegunworks.com.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Someone working for you.
I'm to be honest, I don't know the sexual orientation of my staff.
When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt, tears of rage, tears of rage.
Would you just stop being so dramatic?
I'm a big believer that if this country hasn't broken your heart, then you don't love her enough.
This is Charlie Baker.
Hey, everybody. Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker here.
And these are his friends.
I may not make it through this story. And I told a story about a fisherman that I met in New Bedford. He's coming off the boat.
Hey, Howie.
And be expected to blindly follow orders without first hearing a made-up story.
And he started to cry, and I gave him a hug. He was a big, huge guy. It was like hugging a mountain. And then he said, "See those 2 kids up there?" And he said, "Those are my sons."
How are you there?
Bedford High School, who were given college scholarships, and I ruined their lives. And you hear those kinds of stories every day.
And they are the only friends Charlie Baker has.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up,
sorry,
you
I
probably
tried
don't
to get a
think very
picture,
much about
but
it, right? If
screwed
it's
it up.
going down,
Democrats. I happen to be a manifestation of the women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator. I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall, anyway, you know what I mean. Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday. I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon. We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's Christmas.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs. Civilization as we know it is at stake. I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
You've been hearing me talk about SuperBeats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why SuperBeats? You could take it from me, the benefits of Super. It's healthy blood pressure. But SuperBeats does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of SuperBeats has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Howie and try out SuperBeats yourself. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie.
Brace yourself, guys. Here is 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
I myself have always been for lowering the voting age to 16. I think it's really important to capture kids when they're in high school, which was a very amicable conversation. Amiable, I guess you would say, not amicable. That they wanted their voices to be heard. I don't think our colleague is anti-Semitic. I think she has a different experience in the use of words. That's not the total package, but there are some of the major points of discussion, I would hope, from sea to shining sea, because
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Okay.
They're the same picture.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence last week, somehow we're wrong.
Unchained and unstoppable.
A lot of people have
have drank the poison of white supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump represents.
Did you mean for all those words to come out together, or did they just fall out randomly?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. If you'd like to join us here this afternoon, every weekday afternoon.
Put that mic up to your mouth, please.
And are we doing okay here, Taylor? Because we're having a lot of lights are flashing here in the studio. I just want to know if anything, and we're having problems with our computers. But if you could
lights are flashing.
Lights are flashing. Yes, they're flashing
flashing videos on the dark web.
On the camera, they're flashing on the camera. 407 flash, flash, flash. It's okay as long as everything's cool here. We'll continue on. 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number. The impeachment debate is going on in the House, and again, we're going to give it a good leaving alone here, because the hypocrisy, the sanctimony, the smugness, the pomposity is just breathtaking here, and I think you understand. And let's just play a little bit of it before we go on here. This is a guy named Adriano Espaillat. I never heard. He's from New York, apparently. But here's a flashback from what he was saying last year, I guess. Cut 29.
And that, yes, without no justice, there will be no peace.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. Okay, this is now what he's saying. Now, is he going to get banned from Twitter for saying this? I mean, you talk about inciting. Listen to what he says. Cut 28.
Madam Speaker, today I cast my vote for the second time to impeach Donald J. Trump. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches mob to kidnap and hurt many of us. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches mob to assassinate Vice President Pence, to assassinate Speaker Pelosi. He is unfit to hold office. He summons and dispatches a mob that waved the racist Confederate flag and assaulted this Capitol, resulting in the death of 5 Americans, including 2 Capitol police officers. He is unfit.
The gentleman's
to
time
hold
has
office.
expired.
We must
the gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from New York reserves the balance.
He dispatched his mob to kill Vice President Pence and Speaker Pelosi. That's rather an intemperate charge, isn't it? Does he have any evidence to back that up at all? But wait, we've got more. Do you remember Juliette Kayyem? She actually ran for governor for about 10 minutes in Massachusetts. I can't even remember the year it was. I met her at the Video Link Studios one night. I just introduced myself. And she's worked in the Obama administration. I think she's got some kind of ties to Harvard. Listen to this. I mean, is this intemperate hate speech that the former Democrat candidate for president for governor, is promoting on CNN last night? Cut 12.
Trump is the spiritual, but I will also say operational leader of this domestic terrorism effort. He tells them where to go. He tells them what to do. He tells them why they're angry.
He's an spiritual and operational domestic terrorism leader. Oh, okay. All right. 844-500-4242. We have a lot to get to here today. And but I want to start off with a really good piece of journalism here. And I don't know where it's from, actually. It's by Victoria Taft. And it's a list of the powerful companies that are cutting off Trump and his supporters after the Capitol siege. So one of them is YouTube. That just happened today. This didn't even make her report. YouTube has suspended the Trump channel for at least a week. New York City, under Bill de Blasio, has canceled all Trump contracts. They're worth Trump organization contracts. They're worth 17 million. So this is a case of there's bad news because they've totally botched the rollout of the vaccine. He and Governor Cuomo. So you're going to just change the subject by going after Orange Man bad. It's traditional politics. Find a fall guy for your disasters. A Chicago alderman, as we mentioned in the first hour, is going to file legislation to strip the Trump name off a big skyscraper in the Windy City. Okay, so let's go over these things. The following is a list of companies and organizations that have cut off the president and/or his friends. Amazon has cut off donation to Republicans who fought election fraud and demanded an extension of the voting in the Electoral College. The Professional Golf Association has cut its ties with the Trump organization. They reneged on their agreement to hold the 2022 PGA Championship at Bedminster Golf Course, which Trump owns in New Jersey. It said that continuing to associate with Trump, quote, would be detrimental to the PGA of America brand. It would be detrimental to the brand. Facebook, you know that. They banned President Trump from posting on its platform. Twitter has permanently banned the president. Shopify, an e-commerce company, has dropped the Trump campaign and Trump organization from its platform permanently. Stripe, an online payment company, has dropped the president because it claims he encouraged violence. Reddit has cut off the subreddit handle r/Donald Trump due to Stop the Steal discussion. Snapchat has shut off the president's account. It muted the account in June. Twitch, I don't even know what Twitch is, has locked President Trump out of its Minority Report-like standard on the standard that he might incur violence. Academia, you want some more of this stuff? Academia. Lehigh University gave Trump an honorary degree in 1988, has taken it back. Wagner College withdrew its honorary degree it awarded the president in 2004. Middlebury College, very PC in Vermont, they are considering revoking Rudy Giuliani's honorary degree given for his valiant response to 9/11. Banks and finance. American Express. The New York Times reported that the American Express PAC, Political Action Committee, would no longer support any congressional member who voted against certifying the election. Of course, Democrats have been voting voting against certifying the election for the last 3 times the Republicans won the presidency. 2000, 2004, 2016. I don't believe the American Express PAC decided to ban them from getting contributions. MasterCard says it's cutting off donations to any politician who tried to hold up the count of the Electoral College voters. Publishing media. Hallmark, the Hallmark Channel, which I never watch, has asked Senators Josh Hawley and Roger Marshall to give them back their campaign contributions for voting against certifying the elections. Did they ask the Democrats in 2000, 2004, and 2016 to give back their contributions? Incidentally, Hallmark not only has the card company and the crappy television cable channel, they also own the Crayola arts material company. Cumulus radio station group reportedly put its conservative hosts on notice that they may not give oxygen to the idea that the election wasn't over. I heard Mark Levin last night. He works for Cumulus or Westwood One, which is owned by Cumulus. He said he hadn't heard anything about it. And Chris Plant said he hadn't heard anything about it either. But that's a story in the Washington Post. But remember, the Washington Post is also the same newspaper that reported that President Trump's father had run an anti-black ad when he was running for mayor of New York in 1969. Only one problem. Fred Trump never ran for mayor of New York. And the ad was a parody. And this was not even a fake news. It was a parody. And the Washington Post fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. So and again, the Washington Post said Russians were trying to hack into the U.S. electrical grid on the East Coast, and it turned out it was a guy checking his email in Vermont. So they've published a lot of fake news over the years, the Washington Post, not to mention the whole deeply sourced Republican hoax campaign for which they gave themselves a Pulitzer Prize. But I'm just reporting that. That's what's going on. Anyway, 844-500-4242. Hit refresh on your dinner routine in 2021 with HelloFresh. Right now, you can take advantage of their limited time New Year's sale and see why HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit. You know, you get into ruts. You just keep cooking the same dishes over and over again. It's like you're a robot going to the store. You know what you got to get every weekend when you shop because you're going to cook the same stuff. It's easy, but it gets boring and it gets unhealthy too. It's best to vary your diet. That's where HelloFresh comes in. HelloFresh gives you simple recipes and fresh ingredients sourced directly from growers and delivered to your door contact-free. You don't have to worry about those masks and icy parking lots and all the other hassles of going to the supermarket.
Karens. No Karens.
No Karens. That's it, too. Karens. Oh, my God. Look, they're even going after Bruce Willis. They're going to go after you if you don't have a mask. With more than 23 weekly recipes, there's something for everyone to enjoy, including family-friendly, vegetarian, and low-calorie options. Even
Do they have any shaman vegan recipes?
Shaman vegan recipe. And now they've caught another guy who was in fur, and it turns out he's a registered Democrat. But I digress. Say goodbye to never-ending meal planning and prepping. HelloFresh recipe cards are easy to follow with simple steps and pictures. You can get meals on the table in as little as 20 minutes. Plus, by skipping the grocery store, you could save up to 40% on groceries, cut food waste by 25%, and save time so you have more time to spend with your loved ones. It's a good deal all the way around, and you're gonna get to try new dishes. That's always a good thing. You may find something you like. Go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals across 4 boxes, including free shipping on your first box during HelloFresh's New Year sale. For a limited time only, go to HelloFresh.com and use code Howie10 for 10 free meals. HelloFresh.com. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.
Here's 1 minute of CNN's Don Lemon.
What do you say to those Trump voters who prioritize the economy over the president's bigotry?
I have a big announcement, and it's somewhere on my body.
Because the biggest purveyor of fake news is the president in this country, because he does it a lot. I'm just going to speak from the heart here. What we have witnessed was a total eclipse of the fact.
If you thought I went hard in 2019, watch 2020, baby. There's more to come. I'm a soldier. I'm ready to fight.
Talking about the cost of this parade and where there would be tanks, right? And would there be nuclear weapons? Americans, are you mad as hell? I wouldn't normally address this. As a journalist, I don't really like being the story here. Kanye West, entitled to his own opinion, but is not very bright and not very, when it comes to talking about this issue, not overall. So we have to stop demonizing people and realize the biggest terror threat in this country is white men, most of them radicalized right up to the right.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com.
Frisbee today
No, I
at
know. I mean,
800 989 9100. 800. With SuperBeats, get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy to follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. Are we starting to feel bad for Joe?
$20, $30, $40, $50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
What?
Mr. Vice President.
No, I don't think I don't have it. Oh, I do.
much.
I do, don't I? AT&T. Yeah, so I don't have it either.
Sometimes
We don't have
wake up
anything.
and I think it's 1920, not 2020.
Yeah, it's as Joe Biden would say, it's 1920 down
What
here.
impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was.
This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously I can beat him again. So of course he's obsessed with me.
Howie, Matt says there's a big outage for Verizon and AT&T in New York and Florida.
New York and Florida.
Yeah, weird.
Wow.
All right, we're coming back.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. David Marcus is the New York correspondent for the Federalist.com, which we talk about and read stories from and have guests on all the time. David Marcus today has the lead story in the New York Post, What Twitter Won't Censor. It's a really great story. We should probably tweet it out. And he's got some great examples. Donald Trump is now banned from Twitter. A lot of people are banned from Twitter. They censored me today. We'll get into that as we go along. And yet these rabid lefties can say anything they want. There's one they posted on the front page. Hashtag arrest Trump, not enough. Hashtag kill Trump. And then there's a smiling emoji after that. And that's up. That's up. The Ayatollah who's killed, who's a autocratic police state theocracy in Iran, has killed hundreds of Americans over the years with improvised explosive devices. He's on Twitter, and he can talk about getting rid of Palestine, getting rid of the Zionist regime, i.e. Israel, and say Palestine will be free while the fake Zionist regime will perish. He's not banned. David Marcus, talk about a double standard here. Thanks for being with us here on the Howie Carr Show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a shocking double standard. And I think that the most important thing that people need to know is that Twitter's safety guidelines, and that's supposedly what all of this is about, is they're trying to protect the health of the discourse on their platform. This has nothing to do with safety. This has nothing to do with protecting their users or the American people. Twitter, by censoring all of these entities on the right, are only acting in their own interest. And every time they do it, they're acting in their own interest. So, this notion that they have to do this because of their safety guidelines, as you saw from the piece and the examples that you just cited, it's a blatant and obvious lie.
Right. How about that? I just played a cut of of a congressman from New York on the House floor today saying that Trump sent his violent mobs to assassinate Vice President Pence and Speaker Pelosi. I mean, I would say that's pretty incendiary speech, isn't it? Not to mention totally false. Will he be banned? You know the answer. We both know the answer, right?
Of course he won't be banned because he is a member of the political party that serves Twitter's interests. Mm-hmm. When you look at the people who are being silenced right now, not just by big tech, but all over the place, you're talking about people like Donald Trump and Senator Josh Hawley, who are the biggest enemies of big tech that exist in all politics. In fact, Josh Hawley lost his book deal with Simon & Schuster. The subject of that book was the tyranny of big tech. So it's very clear that they're acting in coordination in order to protect themselves and advance the political interests of the Democratic Party.
Right. Here's another one that you have in your piece. I don't know who these people are. Someone take this clown out now, all capital letters now, exclamation point, hashtag assassinate Trump, utter evil this man, exclamation point, hashtag Donald Trump. Someone take this clown out now. I mean, this is again incitement to violence, isn't it? I mean, if a Republican or a conservative or anyone had ever said that about Barack Obama or about Joe Biden now, they would be not only banned, they would be fired from their jobs. If they had a job, if they had a business, their business would be destroyed. And yet these people act with impunity and they don't even get called out on it, except by a couple of people who are left on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter's argument for why it should have special liability protections under Section 230 so that it can't be sued the way that the Federalist or the New York Post or even you could be sued or any other outlet is that these are supposedly just general terms of service rules. So if anybody breaks the rules, then the rules would be applied equally.
Right.
We obviously see that that's not the case. We obviously see that there are human beings at Twitter making politically driven choices as to how the rules are enforced. At that point, they're no longer a neutral platform. They're a publisher, and they absolutely should be liable for the editorial choices that they make, just like any other platform is.
Right. You also mentioned here, this is a new one on me. There is a Twitter account that calls itself Pigs in a Blanket, Fry 'em Like Bacon. A call to kill police that is also found in a myriad tweets. That's what the BLM protesters were chanting at some point in various cities. And that means kill the cops, pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. And that's an account. I I don't see how that can be tolerated, even by the left-wing standards. There is currently a tweet up from the day of the Capitol riots that reads, "I hope the Trumpers out there all die of COVID." You know, but you know, David, it goes beyond that, because after I read your story today, and we were trying to get you on the show, I was going over the internet, and I saw that the FBI had posted some new documents from the past about Nancy Pelosi's father, who was the mayor of Baltimore, and he allegedly had mob ties, and JFK, the Democrat president, was asking J. Edgar Hoover to check into this, right? So I found a story, and it said, here's the headline: revealed, JFK, a Democrat, worried that Pelosi, a Democrat's dad, a Democrat who was the mayor of Baltimore, was associated with organized crime. And then they cited all these FBI documents that were public record. So I said, that's a good story. I think my few remaining Twitter followers would like this story. So I tried to put it up. And I guess you know where the story's going, David Marcus. I try to put it up, and it says, something went wrong. That's in pink. It's in pink, black letters on pink. Something went wrong, but don't fret. Give it another shot. So I gave it another shot, and another shot, and another shot. And then finally a little blue, black lettering on blue came up underneath. We can't complete this request because this link has been identified by Twitter or our partners, unidentified, as being potentially harmful. Harmful to who, David? To Nancy Pelosi's memory of her father? It's public documents.
It's harmful to Twitter. I mean, listen, these are the same people that banned Dr. Scott Atlas, essentially for saying that lockdowns were a bad idea, that were going to destroy lives and not help very much with the virus, which is exactly what Andrew Cuomo finally said this week.
Right.
So there's no lengths that these people will go. They don't care. They don't care about the suffering of the American people. They care about their bottom line, and they care about power.
Yeah. And incidentally, as we all know, Dr. Scott Atlas is a physician, and Andrew Cuomo is not. And then the final sentence, though, David
Andrew
Marcus,
Cuomo's barely a governor.
That's true as well. Their final sentence to me, after they refused to post my tweet about Nancy Pelosi's father: visit our help center to learn more. Our help. Have you ever been to the Twitter help center? I haven't.
No.
I didn't think they would help me very much.
I'll tell you what makes this worse. On Facebook does the same thing, right? And sometimes the Federalist will run an article and Facebook will flag it. Now, the people who flag it at Facebook are their independent fact checkers, right? One of those independent fact checkers is the Dispatch, which is a competing so-called conservative outlet with guys like Jonah Goldberg and David French. So Facebook is literally having our competition decide which of our articles can go on their platform. It's insane.
Wow. Yeah, they really need to be brought down a notch, and I hope Parler gets back up. I gotta get out of this. It's amazing. The only other time I ever got cut off of Twitter was when I was covering a mob trial in Boston, and the testimony was coming so fast, and I was tweeting it. That's the only way you could do it. I just I posted like a teenage girl and an inordinate number of tweets, and they said, you got to take a rest for a half hour, Howie. But that's the only time I was ever it's censored, and it was just a question of posting too many tweets. And but now you would think they would be loosening up a little bit, when they've lost $5 billion in capitalization.
No, this is a long game for them, right? I mean, they were very nervous that if Trump had won and the Senate had stayed Republican, that those 230 protections were going to be attacked, that they were potentially going to get broken up. So this was an existential threat for them, and they are using the horrible events at the Capitol last week as cover to do basically some illegal things. I mean, what they're doing with Amazon to destroy Parler is illegal. But they're using this opportunity and pumping up this crisis as loud as they can so that they can take illiberal actions in their own benefit.
So I just conducted an experiment. There was a story about one of the Texas election fraudsters that was caught by Project Veritas in Texas.
Yeah.
She was indicted today. And I said, well, let's see if I can get that retweeted onto Twitter. I did. They let that one go through. She's looking at 20 years in prison. She was indicted by the Attorney General of Texas today. So it's not even across the board or consistent. You know, it's just this hurts Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi wouldn't like this one, so we've got to stop it. It's capricious.
Yeah, the system, it's absolutely capricious. And part of the reason that it's capricious is because the main way that they do this is by responding to complaints, right? So this isn't AI or an algorithm that's going through and finding stuff and getting rid of it. This is much more based on complaints showing up to Twitter and then people making active decisions over, yes or no, whether the tweet can go. And we know that Twitter's staff is overwhelmingly not just Democrat, but very far left progressive. So it is capricious, but it is also mostly overwhelmingly in one direction.
Yeah. So all these people today that are tweeting out, Louis Gohmert from Texas, he was quoting Nancy Pelosi, what she said last year about that she's surprised there aren't more riots. And so all these people they're dumb, they're stupid, they're not listening, they're not paying attention. They tweet out, Louis Gohmert is calling for more riots. Now, could Louis Gohmert theoretically could call out? He could call the help center, right, and say, I've been defamed by these fools who weren't listening to what I was saying. But they're not. These people aren't going to be deplatformed, are they? These idiots who accused Gohmert of inciting more insurrection today, because it only goes one way, doesn't it, David Marcus?
It really does go. It really does only go one way. And it's shameful hypocrisy, but it's much worse than that because it is such a powerful platform that they really do have the ability to impact our lives in enormous ways. I mean, the censorship of the anti-lockdown science was devastating to the United States of America. The censorship of the Hunter Biden story from the New York Post was devastating. I mean, there's polling that shows that had that story just been able to be out there without being falsely smeared as Russian disinformation, that could have swayed the election. It's entirely unacceptable.
Oh, God. It's so frustrating, but it's great to see this. It's great to see it on the front page of the New York Post, and you did a great job with it. I think you could probably do a follow-up every day for the rest of your life, too, couldn't you?
I mean, we basically have. I mean, the day before I ran a piece at the Federalist called "Twitter is the enemy of the American people." I mean, the spotlight has to stay on them, and big changes need to happen. And you guys can rest assured that the New York Post and the Federalist are not going to back off of this anytime soon.
Good, David Marcus. We'll tweet the story out and see if it. We'll try to tweet the story out. Let me put it that way.
It went through.
It went through. Okay, we have tweeted it out. That's the good news. All right, David Marcus from the Federalist and the New York Post. Check out the story. We just tweeted it out. What Twitter won't censor. Big tech's purge of hate and Parler. Pure hypocrisy. Thank you, David Marcus. I recently had a dental emergency, and where did I go? Perfect Smiles. I've said this before, but was reminded of what a perfectionist Dr. Houghton is. He is a veneer engineer and a world-class dental artist. Being on TV, it's important that I look my best. Dr. Houghton did that for me, and he can do it for you too. We're in a climate right now where a lot of people don't want to go into the city for whatever reason. Perfect Smiles is conveniently located in Nashua, New Hampshire, and parking is free and it's plentiful. They're located right off the interstate highway. I was impressed to see all the state-of-the-art safety protocols they've taken since the virus. You'll feel safe and confident when you visit Perfect Smiles. And if you haven't been to the dentist in a while, you really need to get in there. The protocols they've taken make it a more pleasant experience, believe it or not, than it used to be. And it was always pretty good to go to Perfect Smiles. And we were talking to some of the people from Perfect Smiles today, and they say that some of their clients, believe it or not, they're grinding their teeth more. They're so nervous. They're so on edge about this panic and about all the unrest and turmoil and economic chaos, among other things in the country. They're grinding their teeth. It's bad. You need to take care of your health, your dental health. It's very important. To see for yourself and get your perfect smile, call 1-844-A-PERFECT-SMILE or go to HowieCarrShow.com and click on the Perfect Smiles banner. You can also see my video at PerfectSmiles.com. Perfect Smiles. Change your smile, change your life. I'm Howie Carr.
Distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody anytime.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now, when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
And now, 1 minute of Nancy Pelosi.
It is a bill that is much needed for our farmers and ranchers. I think there are only 47 votes against it in the House of Representatives. The American people should know the source of it. Again, we are engaged in the year-end continuing resolution, Homeland Security. I'm not sure. No, I haven't spoken to him since he called the other day, which was a very amicable conversation.
You can take Sue. She's ready to go.
Sue, okay.
Say, we haven't had an answer. There are other things that are going on that are newsworthy, and I think you'd have more viewers or readers if people address concerns that people have. The list goes on about the
Leave the guns. Take the cannoli.
The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. I should try to tweet out another version of this Pelosi story about Pelosi's father being investigated by the FBI at the behest of the Kennedy administration. Apparently they were considering him for some kind of administration post. He was a former congressman and former mayor of Baltimore, and they were worried that he was mobbed up. And it's right here. Request for investigation of D'Alessandro, former U.S. congressman and mayor of Baltimore, has been received from the White House. Position for which being considered not known. Bureau files contain numerous references to D'Alessandro, which are being reviewed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Not everything that's in the FBI files obviously is true, but did Twitter ever censor any of the dodgy dossier, which wasn't even an official public document? It was just made up crap by the Clinton campaign. Sue, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Sue.
Yes, Howie, you remember everything. Do you remember, I think it was Ferguson, that Obama and Holder were being accused of inciting a riot?
Yeah, I mean, it seems to me that after they decided not to press charges against the Ferguson cop, that Obama went on the air and he didn't exactly, try to calm the waters very much. And then they sent some kind of investigative unit from the Justice Department and the Community Disorders Unit or some such thing to just continue the investigation and continue stirring up the pot, when it was pretty clear to everybody who did any kind of investigation whatsoever that the gentle giant Michael Brown was the one who instigated his own death by attacking the police officers. It's so true. Thanks for the call, Sue. 844-500-4242. All right. We will be back with more after the top of the hour break. 844-500-4242. Stand by for the Chump Line. I'm Howie Carr. My friends at Eden Pure are extending their New Year's sale, but you need to act while you can. You can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners. With code word Howie, the Thunderstorm is available for under $90. Purify the air from any odor. This could be pet odor, kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp smell in your basement. No filters are needed. I've seen much more expensive comparable units in doctors' offices and have asked myself, why didn't they order the Thunderstorm? The Thunderstorm doesn't take up floor space and is quiet. Take advantage of this extended sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free.
The Moonbats always say Donald Trump isn't very bright. But what about Barack Hussein Obama? Let's listen to some of his greatest hits.
I've now been in 57 states. I think one left to go. I don't know what the term is in Austrian. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. And there has never been any man or woman more qualified for this office than Hillary Clinton. There are neighborhoods around the country where it is easier for a 12 or 13-year-old to purchase a gun and cheaper than it is for them to get a book. I believe in the Second Amendment. It's there written on the paper. If we fall for, a bunch of okey doke. A few months ago, when you were asked what's the biggest geopolitical threat facing America, you said Russia, not Al Qaeda. You said Russia. In the 1980s are now calling to ask for their foreign policy back.
Here's 1 minute of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
There's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
only in America does when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we, have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say no. We're not going back to that.
I know it sounds banal. Do we know how long puppies are allowed to stay with their mothers after a dog has given birth? I don't. 8 weeks. Wow. So the market has decided that women and people who give birth deserve less time with their children than a dog. So the whole premise of the Green New Deal is that we're screwed.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's how it works with my retirement accounts, and I'll bet yours too. If your 401k, your SEP, your IRA, whatever is going up, you probably don't think very much about it, right? But if it's going down, well, there's nothing much else you can think of. So for the last couple of years, none of us have been worrying much about those quarterly statements. But lately, it's gotten a little worrisome. It's not that bad, not yet anyway, but what goes up must come down. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting your investments. Gold and silver have always been a hedge against stock market volatility. Uncertainty about the future has traditionally meant rising prices for precious metals. Orion Metal Exchange is the only precious metals company I trust. Give Orion a call to get a free, no-obligation investment guide about protecting your future with an enduring investment in gold and silver. You've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, including peace of mind, by calling Orion Metal Exchange now. Call them today at 800-912-2300. And with Orion, you'll get more metal for your money. Call 800-912-2300. That's 800-912-2300.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying. Hitler was a Christian. Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Do you have tanning lotion on,
A little, I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor. Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape. I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms.
Oh, here it is.
A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday.
Here, will you send this to Taylor?
Bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those
ask
social
the guy,
gatherings on
say,
hold,
can we use this?
including
Can we use
extra
this sign?
care
Can we
for
use this
Thanksgiving.
photo?
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving,
And then
then he
if
got
he
on a
says
flight
yes,
to go see
just,
family out of state.
we don't have any
Some
internet.
people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to
What?
ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of the neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology. What they do.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
And now, another minute of Madam Speaker, Nancy Pelosi.
But again, don't.
You have these wings, AOC and her group on one side.
That's like 5 people. They would say, play games, and then they'd say, open sesame. Except we don't say sesame, we say open Biden. But no, I because we are not.
let me get my
we have
internet back
the
up
number
here.
is growing. We have
Like
91 women. There are 115
where
women
am I off of it again?
in
I guess I'm
Congress.
off.
116.
Oh, okay.
15 are Republican. 91 are Democrats.
Oh, I mean, I'm
happen
just
to
gotta
be
get. I gotta get
a
the
manifestation
hotspot
of
up,
the
right?
women power that is coming forth now, but only one manifestation. It was like getting kicked in the back by a mule constantly. It was physical. It was so unbelievable. The Times found Lincoln. Not to be presumptuous to put ourselves in those categories, but the Times have found us.
You've been hearing me talk about SuperBeats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why SuperBeats? You could take it from me. The benefits of SuperBeats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind SuperBeats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But SuperBeats does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of SuperBeats has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Howie and try out SuperBeats yourself. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
Oh,
it's back.
60. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us
more with the hotspot. Okay.
Jobs.
Looks like we got the with the hotspot. We got the call screener back. We're going to try to get the texter back next.
All right, very good.
And
Alex said you guys got a photo of the restaurant.
Yeah, we do. We're just checking to. I asked the guy to send me permission. Okay, so we don't get into trouble. Sure. Right.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
You cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Okay.
They're the same picture.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence last week, somehow we're wrong.
Unchained and unstoppable.
A lot of people have drank the poison of white supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump represents.
Did you mean for all those words to come out together, or did they just fall out randomly?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Good Lord. I don't know who is more embarrassing to Boston University, AOC or Ayanna Pressley. At least Ayanna Pressley doesn't claim to have a degree. AOC have drunk. I mean, come on. I know grammar isn't a real big thing in American society anymore, but you are a congresswoman, you know. 844-500-4242. Let's see. 207. Funny, Howie, unless I have the wrong, looked it up wrong, nothing in Wikipedia about the Kennedy consideration of D'Alessandro. We'll try to figure out a way to text that, tweet that out so you can see it. I mean, the thing is, it's funny because she actually has a picture of herself. It looks like she's in a prom dress with JFK. She ran into him at I guess some kind of a formal event, and she was a teenager at the time, I guess, or in her early 20s, or maybe in her early 30s or 40s. But she has a picture of herself with JFK. I wonder if he asked her, "Hey, is your father really mobbed up there?" I rather doubt it. It's interesting because everybody knows that JFK, his father was mobbed up, and nobody really seems to hold it against him all that much. Why is it? Why does Twitter want to protect Nancy Pelosi as well? All right, time now for the Chump Line.
Lummy, I deserve the credit for Phil Belichick turning down that Medal of Freedom. When I heard that deplorable Donald Trump had offered it, I called Boston Patriots owner John Shaft, and I said if he accepted it, I'd cancel my season tickets at Sullivan Stadium and personally throw that medal over the White House fence. So let's not get silly here.
That was a good one. That was a good one. I like it where you got John Shaft in there. John Shaft. Who's the black private detective that's a sex machine with all the women? John Shaft. I guess Bob Kraft doesn't want to be compared to John Shaft. Not after the unpleasantness up in Jupiter last year.
Joe Biden said he wouldn't comment on impeachment, but he does enjoy a good cobbler.
We have a cut, though, of Joe Biden from last October, and he was talking about what happens at Trump rallies. Here, cut 23.
These white supremacist, Nazi sympathizers, carrying Nazi flags, using the exact same jargon used, anti-Semitic jargon used as it was used in Germany in the 30s.
That was a denunciation of Trump and his supporters, yet somehow they never used that on mainstream media. I wonder why, huh?
Copy and bring the mic to your mouth, please.
All right. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. And we're old enough to remember a time when social media accounts like Twitter and Facebook were available to all users and allowed open conversations, a time when you could also choose Parler or Gab as your platform. How quickly times have changed.
If Donald Trump declassifies all the UFO information, will we find out where all these Democrats came from?
Again, it was kind of put out there, not with a lot of fanfare, that the CIA was supposedly declassifying everything. That would be a good poll question, Taylor. Do you believe the CIA declassified everything it knew about UFOs? I think that would be one of those 99-1 questions.
I think it's about time they put a portrait of the Supreme Court on a carton of milk.
Yeah, paging John Roberts. Yeah. Had Mike Pence thrown out the electoral slates, though, from those 6 states, the Supreme Court would have leaped into action. No question about it. 917 says, how many drinks do you think AOC had to throw out of her bar when she was a bartender? Yeah, as a bartender, you would think she would know how to decline. Is that the word, decline? The verb drink, to drink. Drink, drunk, drank. That's how it works. At least that's how it worked back in the day when I was in high school.
I don't think this remote learning is giving our kids a good education. My son thinks the 3 branches of government are Facebook, Amazon, and Twitter.
Hey, I think your son's onto something. I think these big tech oligarchs have a lot more power than anybody has ever had in American history. And I know they don't produce any goods or services. They don't produce oil or tobacco or steel, but still, they have more clout than Carnegie or Buck Duke or John D. Rockefeller or anybody else ever had.
Wow, Howie. I never thought that I would see Democrats in the House try to impeach president as a standing headline.
Yeah, I know. And the thing is, I don't really think a lot of people are paying attention to it. I go online and I look, and is there any kind of running commentary anywhere on this? No, because it's all just a bad rerun. It's like ESPN Classics. Do they still have ESPN Classics where they rebroadcast the old games? Why don't they just rebroadcast the last time they tried to do this? Conjugate. Knock, knock. It's not decline. There's a conjugate or decline. I don't know. I guess you decline nouns in Latin. Yeah, conjugate. That's what I mean. Conjugating on the common, as Mumbles Menino used to say.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Parlor. Parlor who? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, that's about the way it is for Parler right now. I hope they get back on sooner rather than later.
After I hear those moonbat Democrats talk, I need mental floss.
Yeah, we got to play the cut after the break from this guy from New York talking about accusing President Trump of dispatching his mob to assassinate Pence and Pelosi. I'm going to guess that he is not going to be deplatformed by Twitter. I'll go out on a limb. I got a hunch. I'll bet a bunch.
All this censorship didn't get rid of all those "Not My President" signs. I found a new home for all of them.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, Howie. This is Jimmy Stewart calling. So James Clyburn wants a new national anthem? Well, the way the Democrats are moving against free speech, it'll have to be an instrumental.
603 says, drink, drank, drunk is the correct conjugation of the verb to drink. And you were laughing at her. Yeah, I am, because she said have drank. It would be have drunk, not have drank. It's like saying, go, went, gone. And some people say I've went to the store in the past. It's I've gone to the store in the past. I guess you just call it an irregular verb, right? I think that's the way you describe it, an irregular verb. But she's an irregular congresswoman.
You'd think stealing the election would have eased their Trump infection, yet they still are feeling ill. TDS has no cure, not even his ejection.
Exactly. Yeah. Trump derangement syndrome. It's incurable. Totally incurable. There is no vaccine. There is no therapeutic. Dr. Fauci, even St. Anthony can't do anything about TDS.
That was your last Chump Line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
All right, that's it for the Chump Line today. The Chump Line is the recorded voicemail message service of the Howie Carr Show. You can call and leave a message at any hour of the day or night. Any hour of the day or night, as long as it's between 1 and 4 Eastern Time, every weekday afternoon. The Chump Line number, if you'd like to leave such a message, 844-500-4242, 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the Chump Line. Leave your message. We may or may not play it at this time each weekday. If you didn't hear your message or you just want to hear more, go to Chopped Chumps. We post the messages that didn't make what you just heard at around 7 o'clock every night. Get Chopped Chumps wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcasts. The Chump Line is brought to you every weekday at this time by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. And we're old enough to remember a time when social media accounts like Twitter and Facebook were available to all users and allowed open conversations. A time when you could also choose Parler or Gab as your platform. How quickly times have changed.
Knock, knock. Who's there? Parlor. Parlor who? Hello? Hello?
617. My, how far we've come. We all shrugged when Alex Jones was deplatformed in 2018. 2 years later, Twitter took out the president of the United States. Yeah, it's the old, that old saying, first they came for the Jews and I said nothing, then they came for the gypsies and I said nothing, et cetera, et cetera. So now they've come for not just Donald Trump, but all of his supporters. They've come for, I think, Lynn Wood, Sidney Powell, General Michael Flynn, and God only knows who else. But they haven't come for any of the leftists who are spewing hatred nonstop, 24/7 on Twitter. I'm Howie Carr.
The Howie Carr Show.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by J.T. Kelly,
Here,
real
there you
estate
go.
broker at Keller Williams, who helped my daughter find a house.
Taylor.
The
Oh, you can
2021 housing market is already
Taylor.
on fire. Contact him at...
Yes.
The guy gave us permission to use the picture, so we're going to send it to you right now, and you can put it
Who
up
is this
there.
from?
Excuse me?
Who sent it to us?
Just a guy there. He took the picture himself. I don't know who it is, but he's got my number, and we just got his permission. It's right there on the text.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah, I'll tweet it out.
Okay. And you know what the name of the place is, right?
Yeah, it's the Lionville Tavern.
Right.
Not worrying about bald spots or a dreaded comb over. I now have a thick head of hair, and the best part of it is, it's my hair. Getting a DiStefano hair restoration was the best decision I ever made.
Well, besides hiring me, right, Howie?
Like I said, Grace, it was the best decision I ever made.
You heard him, guys. Go to hairman.com to get the hair you've always wanted. Get hair like Howie's. Go to DiStefano Hair Restoration. They have 5 locations in New England, and they are open for business. That's hairman.com. He's the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal, so what better time to play some of his greatest hits? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Mr. Frosty.
This is going to be a mission to save all of creation.
If you want to ignore that these changes are taking place and that they're having a dramatic impact, then you are in the right place.
Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock? Do you know what the winters were like at Plymouth Rock, Senator?
Well, here is the thing.
You don't. How long has your family been in Massachusetts?
We are new arrivals, and
Mr. President, American history was made last night. The Boston Patriots won the Super Bowl. When the Second Amendment was written in order to maintain a well-regulated militia, they did not have in mind that people could purchase guns indiscriminately. The president is acting like Pontius Pilate.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. buyraycon.com/Howie.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh. What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Howie Carr is here to stay.
844-500-4242. Take advantage of HelloFresh's New Year sale and get simple recipes and fresh pre-portioned ingredients delivered to your door contact-free. Right now, get 10 free meals, including free shipping during HelloFresh's New Year sale with code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. That's code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you plan on leaving Twitter?
I do. Yes, I do. Not instantaneously, but I do plan to. Yes.
65% say they've never been on Twitter, but 33% say they'll leave.
And 2% are going to remain. All right. 844-500-4242. People are correcting me, saying that AOC was correct when she said, I mean, her comments were insane, but that she was grammatically correct. She was not grammatically correct. She said have drank. That's not grammatically correct. It's have drunk. Okay, we'll play it one more time. So I'm tired of getting texts about it. Cut one.
A lot of people have drank the poison of white supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump represents, just is. And if at this point you haven't recognized that and you don't see it, maybe you have a lot of work to do too.
Good Lord. 844-500-4242. We told you I got a text saying that there's a sign at a restaurant, or I guess there are two signs on different sides of the restaurant, and they say Charlie Baker, take 25% off your pay. So we started looking around for that, and one of our listeners texted us a picture, and he's given us permission to use it on the website. So we're going to tweet it out, we'll tweet it out and we'll put it on the website. I wonder if you think that can get through. Probably most of the people in Silicon Valley, the social justice warriors, don't even know who the hell Charlie Baker is. They probably think he's Charlie Parker because that's what Joe Biden calls him. But it's the Lionville Tavern in Halifax, Mass. This is a great thing, and I was afraid that it would only be a hand-lettered sign, taped to the plexiglass above the bar. But it's actually a nice, professionally done sign. And my only complaint about the sign is, shouldn't it be Charlie Parker takes 75% off your pay? Since they have
25% of your pay.
Oh, take 75 of your pay.
Take
Okay.
Take 25% of your pay.
Oh, okay. Of your pay. Okay. I didn't see it closely enough. We've got some problems down here today we're dealing with. Take 25% of your pay. So it's a perfect sign. It's a wonderful sign. I love the Lionville Tavern in Halifax, Massachusetts. You know what? If the Massachusetts Restaurant Association was doing anything for its membership, they would be mass producing those signs and giving them to every one of their members that remains. All 63 or 62% of them that are left that haven't gone out of business or into hibernation.
We just tweeted
it out. So if you haven't left Twitter yet, it might be a good thing to look at. Let's put it up on the website too, so people can see it at HowieCarrShow.com. It's the sign of the day. And Taylor has talked to the owner of the restaurant, and we're going to have her on tomorrow night to discuss this. This is good stuff. And I'm glad to see people are finally restaurateurs are finally fighting back here a little bit. I understand, you have to deal with town permits to operate a restaurant and state permits controlled by Charlie Parker from the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission. It's tough. It's they've got a lot of ways to come back and harass you and hamstring your businesses. But this is a good one. Charlie Parker, take 25% of your pay. It sums it up perfectly, doesn't it? 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. And we're going to take some of your calls when we come back here. And we got some more cuts to play as well. And President Trump has been impeached. The Chump Line caller was right. It's now a standing headline. Trump impeached. And it doesn't mean anything, does it? 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Several years ago, we here at Matthews Brothers launched the website called MatthewsBrothers.com. We did this for a couple of reasons. First, it's our name, and it seemed to make sense that we name it after ourselves. Secondly, we thought it would be a useful place to post interesting things about our wicked awesome windows and doors. Shortly after we launched it, this fella, who insists on calling himself the webmaster, told us that he could put anything we wanted to on our website. Since we were getting kind of tired of seeing his vacation photos there, we took him up on his offer. Today, there's so much fun stuff to do on our website, it's like going to a theme park, but without the lines or the mask. Do you want to know the closest dealer to you? Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere, or worse yet, New Jersey? We've got a dealer locator for that. Want to page through a colorful catalog without having to lick your fingers? We've got a flip book for that. Accidentally take the bottom sash out of the frame and there's a blizzard coming and you can't get it back in and the factory's closed? We've even got a video for that. You can learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumber Yards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Congressman Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with SuperBeats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now. Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glennis the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. 413. How quickly everyone forgot about senators being harassed in the streets of D.C. by the mobs not long ago, i.e. Rand Paul and his wife. They haven't forgotten about it, I'll tell you that. You think about Rand Paul. Rand Paul was on the softball field, or the baseball field, excuse me, in, was it Alexandria, Virginia, when the Bernie bro, a peaceful protester, opened fire with his rifle and almost killed Congressman Steve Scalise at a congressional Republican baseball practice. Then, a few months later, Rand Paul, who wasn't hit, unlike Scalise and several other people, by the Bernie bro, he gets assaulted by this social justice warrior, moonbat neighbor of his in Newport, Kentucky, a guy who's originally from New Bedford, another physician. And he gets a collapsed lung and broken ribs. And then the Obama judge doesn't even sentence the guy to jail. They had to get him resentenced elsewhere. And then he goes to the acceptance speech by the president after he takes the Republican nomination. He made the speech at the White House. And when he leaves, he gets all assaulted verbally, certainly with his wife leaving. I mean, he's had a lot more violence than AOC and all these crybabies in the House. I mean, again, I condemn the riot, whatever happened, but Rand Paul has actually been in a form of combat. He was fired upon, and he was almost killed by this nut Democrat neighbor of his in Kentucky, and he was harassed. And he's not singing the blues here, is he? 844-500-4242. That is the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. This is someone says Lionville Tavern will be getting a surprise visit soon from the ABCC, Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, just like when the town of Yarmouth decided not to have the Board of Health enforce Charlie's edicts. And people, I guess some licensees were suspended then. 844-500-4242. Before we go back to the phone lines, I just want to read I mentioned a story from the UK. There was a British general back in the 19th century, fought in Africa. His name was Redvers Buller, not to be confused with Ferris Bueller. Redvers Buller. There's a big statue of him in Exeter, the United Kingdom. It's in the southwest part of the country. And now they want to take the statue down, the woke people, the Black Lives Matter people, for they have a Black Lives Matter chapter in Exeter, England. And they say that the statue represents the patriarchal structure of empire, and that the feelings of women, transgender, and non-binary people must be recognized. I don't know what General Redvers Bueller has to do with non-binary people, but the statue somehow, according to the study group in the UK, impacts anyone who, quote, does not define themselves in binary gender terms. Now, how could they make General Redvers Buller, who's probably been dead for 120 years, acceptable to those who do not define themselves in binary gender terms? I don't know. I'm raising that as a point of discussion here. Monique, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Monique.
I was calling to talk about lockdowns, Howie, but could I make a comment about the President Trump being impeached just now?
Yes. Go ahead.
I look forward with bright anticipation. Thank you. I look forward with bright anticipation to President Kamala Harris being impeached twice by a Republican-controlled House on the basis of equally specious grounds.
I know. Apparently, you can now be impeached for exercising your own First Amendment rights as an American citizen. That's an impeachable. That's a high. Is it a high crime or a misdemeanor, Monique? Because that's what the Constitution says.
Yeah, it's got to be both. I'm sure in this case because he's a white male, and, for sure.
Right. It's just so absurd. They've defining the crime down. They did it enough with the Ukrainian phone call, which even the guy who was apparently the source said that the transcription that they put out after the fake news stories broke about how he was trying to shake down the new Ukrainian president. Even the guy who leaked the story and who spoke Ukrainian said, "Yeah, the transcript was accurate. That's all that was in the transcript." And as Trump said, the phone call was a perfect phone call. Maybe it wasn't perfect. What is a perfect phone call? But you know what he meant. It was not a criminal phone call. 844-500-4242. So 617 says, who is the only president in history to be impeached twice? That's what this is all about, really. This is for the history books. But what they don't seem to realize is that they've made impeachment meaningless by resorting to this level. I mean, this is like arresting somebody and then just throwing him not in jail till he can plead out at the district court level and then get moved up to. This is like just taking somebody, arresting him and throwing him in prison. There was where was the trial? Where were the hearings? And why do you do this? Does the federal Justice Department, as corrupt as it is and has been and will be in the future, do they ever try people who are dead? I mean, he's going to be out of office. It's the equivalent of a political death as of next week. I mean, okay, theoretically he can come back, but you can't remove somebody from an office they don't hold. What's to stop them from impeaching you or me? We're not president either. And we didn't do anything either. But Trump has been impeached. 844-500-4242. Steve from Springfield, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Howie. Hey, you're forgetting about the biggest racist monument of all, DNC headquarters.
Yeah, they have quite a record going back to the days of secession and the Ku Klux Klan. You know who was on those cannons when they bombed Fort Sumter in 1861? Those were all Democrats. There wasn't a single Republican on those crews.
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine who was in D.C. January 6th, Wednesday, and he had his car with him. So he actually drove straight from the Trump rally to Congress. He didn't have to walk the mile. So he got an early glimpse of them letting a lot of these people in. And a lot of these guys were covered head to toe with black, and so they couldn't be identified by surveillance cameras. And the other thing I wanted to mention is John Solomon wrote a really good article called Rush to Judgment you might want to check out. Yeah. It has to do with 2 FBI departments having advance notice of violence at the Capitol.
Right. That's
so
justthenews.com.
Because of Trump.
Justthenews.com. And they say they had started letting them in while Trump was still speaking. So the timeline doesn't quite work, but they're going around, they're rounding people up. The FBI raided a Cleveland school teacher's home. A firefighter in Sanford, Florida, was arrested, and he had to post $25,000 bail. And again, if they did something wrong, go ahead, prosecute them. But where isn't there disparate treatment? Are we supposed to be concerned about disparate treatment in the criminal justice system? Were they going after the Antifa people like this? The Black Lives Matter people like this? I don't believe they were. There's a story in the New York Daily News, a left-wing rag. The FBI last night arrested one of the Proud Boys in Queens. And the guy, he has a Hispanic name, Spanish name. So I'm guessing he's one of these Hispanic white supremacists, like the leader of the group, who's a black Cuban, who's a white supremacist, according to the mainstream media. And the neighbors said that that the FBI had a tank when they ran this guy down. And, people are disputing that it wasn't really a tank. It was an armored vehicle. But again, I mean, what do they think they were dealing with here? Roger Stone, Carter Page, George Papadopoulos, Michael Flynn? They're really going after these people a lot harder than they go after their own. Has Comey, Strzok, Clapper, Brennan, have they been brought to justice? No, they haven't, obviously. Thanks for the call, Steve. Kathy, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Kathy.
Hi, Howie.
Hi.
So I wasn't at the rally, but I did happen to make a comment as to what I'm seeing on a post on a site, and I basically said that I believe there's a witch hunt going on after Trump supporters. So I get this little post back that said I'm un-American, I'm or anti-military for my beliefs, pretty much, and this is about sedition.
Sedition.
So I counted it back, and I said, well, if we really want to get into things that have gone on, I said, how about we have fair justice for all, including the people that have been burning down federal buildings, assaulting the police officers, intimidating people, and I really put it back as a counterclaim. If somebody's going to accuse me, I said, who are you to tell me I'm anti-American just because I made that observation? I see that I believe people are going after the Trump voters, and they are trying to silence them.
I'm with you, Kathy. Everybody who did wrong should be prosecuted, whether you are Antifa or whether you're MAGA. And now that I think about it, remember when they were ripping down statues in the early summer? There was a Virginia state senator who was involved in it. They had videotape of her taking part in this destruction of public property, and she was arrested. But of course, those charges were dropped because, you know what? She's a Democrat. So just let it slide. Just let it slide. Thanks for the call, Kathy. 844-500-4242. My friends at Eden Pure are extending their New Year's sale, but you need to act while you can. You can get the Thunderstorm air purifier at the lowest price offered to my listeners with code word Howie. The Thunderstorm is available for under $90 and shipping is free. Supplies are limited, so this sale won't last much longer. The Thunderstorm is a small device you can hold in your hand and plug into the wall to purify the air from any odor. It's gotten great reviews, including from Dr. Matt, who gave one to his son because his son had a very smelly cat, according to Dr. Matt, the house vet of the Howie Carr Show. If anyone knows about how to deal with odors, or should know how to deal with odors from pets, it's Dr. Matt. And it's not just pet odor that the Thunderstorm deals with.
These are great all over the house. I mean, if you've got a mud room or a laundry room that tends to get a little smelly, any of those places, that's where the Eden Pure Thunderstorm really shines. It can get rid of any odor in your house or really anywhere that you put it.
Kitchen smells, tobacco, or that damp, musty smell in your basement from when it rains too much or when it doesn't rain. No filters are needed. I've seen much more expensive comparable units in doctors' offices and have asked myself, why didn't they just order the Thunderstorm? The Thunderstorm takes up no floor space and is quiet. Take advantage of this extended sale and experience for yourself what all the listeners are raving about. Go to EdenPure.com and put in code word Howie. That's EdenPure.com, code word Howie. Shipping is free. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists.
No organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, Show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do not get it twisted and think that, oh, this is something that has never happened before, and then this is so terrible, and where are we, and these savages and all of that. This is how this country was started.
People get mad and people get sick of it. People are risking COVID to explain to this country that we're fed up.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate, candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
Every time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there.
The Howie Carr Show.
781 says, should Congress impeach Trump next week for not attending the Biden inauguration so he could be impeached 3 times, kind of like winning the Triple Crown? 844-500-4242. So they appointed Eric Swalwell, who had an affair with a Chinese spy. He's still in the Congress. And what did he manage exactly? This was more like some kind of just a mob that gathered. And was anybody waving a noose in the House of Representatives, demanding justice, immediate justice? Bring him out of the jail! Come on! What did he do? He said something we don't like. He said, protest peacefully and patriotically. Get rid of him. I was scared. 844-500-4242. You think David Dorn was scared when the St. Louis police officer retired who was guarding the store during the looting and the rioting when he was shot down by a mob trying to loot a pawn shop? Do you think all the other people that were killed in the riots, were they scared? Did any Democrats, did Joe Biden say anything about those riots? Nancy Pelosi did say something about those riots, and Louis Gohmert quoted her, and now they want to string up Louis Gohmert in a high-tech lynching because he quoted Nancy Pelosi. They're so stupid they don't realize he was quoting Nancy Pelosi. Let's play that cut one more time. The Gohmert cut.
I just don't even know why there aren't more uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be. Sadly, the domestic enemies of our voting system and honoring our Constitution are right at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue with their allies in Congress of the United States.
Now they want to, they say, how dare Louis Gohmert say that? He doesn't know why there are more uprisings. That was Nancy Pelosi, daughter of Thomas D. D'Alessandro, who was investigated by the FBI.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
Where was the Twitter mob when she said that? Let's hear that one more time.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
John, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, John.
I could go for hours, Howie. It's good to be on. Very nice to talk to you for a change.
Thanks.
Hey, you really want to hit some of these people in the pocket? Just shut Twitter and Facebook down. All these people sitting at home, they want to protest. They want to do something for the people. Go on your computer, shut the Facebook off, shut the Twitter off, and hit them in the pocket.
Well, I mean, they have been hit. Twitter's been hit in the pocket big time. I don't know what it did today, but the first 2 days of the week on the stock market, their capitalization was down $5 billion. I guess that means that Jack Dorsey won't be able to buy a razor anytime soon. Oh, that's right. He wasn't buying a razor even before the stock took a tumble. Yeah, it's again. I think most of us are going to check out of Twitter in the near future. Same with Amazon. Again, I'm gonna try to buy directly from the producers of the products that I used to buy on Amazon. I don't want to give Bezos any more money after what he's tried to do to Parler. I mean, he's tried to shut off an avenue of free speech, and he's a newspaper publisher. That makes the hypocrisy even more appalling. Thanks for the call, John. Trip, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Trip.
Hey, Howie, thanks for taking my call. I'm in the camp that says this whole impeachment thing is very absurd. I wanted to point out to you that the debate takes place in the House, and Donald Trump doesn't have an opportunity to speak on his behalf. The actual trial takes place in the Senate, which, according to the timing, would possibly occur after he's out of office. So what the heck's going to happen with that, Howie?
Right. Well, McConnell has already said he's not going to bring it up before the inauguration. So it's a totally moot point. It's absurd. He's going to be out of office. How can you throw someone out of office after he's already out of office? It's not possible, is it? All right. 844-500-4242. I'm Howie Carr.
Here at the Howie Carr Radio Network, we're all about saving you money. We want you to cut out the middleman and buy direct from our great sponsors. And to help you save, I've put together a cheat sheet. For instance, if you go to EdenPure.com, you'll find the Thunderstorm Air Purifier, and you can save $10 using code Howie. You can also get Eden Pure's Gen 30 heater and save even more money with code Howie Deal. Do you have a dirty, dingy carpet that could use some freshening up? Head over to Genesis950.com, use code Howie, and get a gallon of their cleaner, free shipping, and other goodies with code Howie. Put a little pep in your step with SuperBeats. Get more bang for your buck and do some good for your heart by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. While you're at it, give your ears a treat too, and listen to your favorite music and podcasts with premium earbuds from Raycon. Get them at buyraycon.com/Howie. And finally, make cooking easier with HelloFresh. They'll send you easy-to-follow recipes and all the ingredients you need, but only if you visit HelloFresh.com/Howie. Cut out the middleman, save money, and take advantage of these deals now.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can all see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet. Because if that's who
Grace,
they
what's
are,
up?
and if they are the extreme
Howie, was that the Jake Tapper clip?
Yes.
Yeah, we got it.
Oh, good. I got to read up on the congressman right now. I'm not real familiar with him. Boy, I love that picture.
Amputee, right?
That picture is great.
Florida.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was Florida. I love that photograph. Oh, no. I'm having a problem again here. Oh, here.
But if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he
Okay, it came back. Let me see.
Did you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not? What do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
Oh, no, I just lost
who is articulate and bright and clean. Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate.
Okay.
And not a gangbang.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Oh, Howie, Boston 25 wants to use some of the clips from the Rachel Rollins interview tonight.
It's fine with me.
Okay.
The Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm the Vice President of the United States.
Love him or hate him, Joe Biden's here for the long haul, but we can't get enough of his gaffes. Here's the best of Uncle Joe's speaking before he thinks.
We choose truth over facts. When the stock market crashed, Franklin Roosevelt got on television. Make sure you have the record player on at night. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids. Okay, look, all right. Look, you can track with me later, okay? The teachers are retired. I'm married to a teacher. My deceased wife is a teacher.
It's still not back,
was
right?
a bad dude. I can tell you, and I've known 8 presidents.
Is it back?
3 of the minimum. If you agree
It
with
is back?
me, go to Joe 3.
So I should turn off this thing?
330.
Yes.
And help me. Had over 40 kids shot.
As long as I
State
should
on a
just-
beautiful lawn. I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? I said something that was not meant the way I said. I mean, what is it that I said wrong? I want to be clear. I'm not going nuts. Anyway, my time's up. I'm sorry.
You've been hearing me talk about SuperBeats for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why SuperBeats? You could take it from me. The benefits of SuperBeats are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind SuperBeats. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But SuperBeats does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of SuperBeats has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeatsradio.com/Howie and try out SuperBeats yourself. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeatsradio.com/Howie. And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
Is that you cannot compare this, and I'm sick of people comparing. You can't compare what happened this summer. What happened at the Capitol on Wednesday was built on a lie.
Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture.
Okay.
They're the same picture.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Americans are tired of the double standard. They are so tired of it. Democrats can raise bail for rioters and looters this summer, but somehow when Republicans condemn all the violence last week, somehow we're wrong.
unchained, and unstoppable.
A lot of people have drank the poison of white supremacy. And that's what Donald Trump represents.
Did you mean for all those words to come out together, or did they just fall out randomly?
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. There's a congressman from Florida, a Republican. His name is Brian Mast. And you may have seen him on TV, appearing on some of the talk shows, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good. He lost both his legs fighting, I think, in Afghanistan. I'm not sure if it's Afghanistan or Iraq. And so today he voted with the vast majority of the Republicans against this sham impeachment that took place in the House of Representatives, the People's House. And so after it was over, the vote was taken. Jake Tapper, a Democrat operative with a press pass, who used to work for the Clinton crime family. He worked for Chelsea Clinton's mother-in-law, who was a congresswoman from suburban Philadelphia. She was married to a congressman from Iowa who later went to federal prison for bank fraud and still owes $10 million he's been ordered to pay from the people he ripped off. And so that's his background in journalism, working for the Clinton crime family, Jake Tapper. Now he's a journalist. He was one of the leading proponents of the Russian collusion hoax. He broke the story about the dodgy dossier, which was made up fiction by his former employers, the Clintons, and he pretended that it was an intelligence operation. Okay, he's a hell of a guy, a real top-notch person, right up there with I don't know, George Stephanopoulos and Chuck Todd, Jim Sciutto, all these operatives. So anyway, today Tapper comes out, and they've won. I mean, they love this stuff. They like to pretend this is like a really historic, a moment in history. You'll always remember where you were the time the president was impeached for the third, or was it the fourth time? Oh. But he can't leave well enough alone. He can't just do the victory lap, as preposterous as the victory is. He has to go after Brian Mast, the congressman from Florida, the war hero. Here's the cut.
One other thing, that's relevant. What you're saying right now is relevant because Congressman Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, who lost his legs, by the way, fighting for democracy abroad, although I don't know what his...
We lost it.
There's one other thing I want to share.
But just one other thing, that's relevant. What you're saying right now is relevant because Congressman Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, who lost his legs, by the way, fighting for democracy abroad, although I don't know about his commitment to it here in the United States. He said,
we keep losing it there, Taylor.
That was it. That was it right there. He doesn't know what his commitment to freedom in the United States is. That's the cut.
I'd just like to hear it again. I'd like to hear more. I'd like to hear more of it. Let me hear it one more time.
Because Congressman Brian Mast, a Republican from Florida, who lost his legs, by the way, fighting for democracy abroad, although I don't know about his commitment to it here in the United States. He said, did anybody say that?
Yes.
Yeah, we heard him.
The answer is yes. Yes. And anybody out there, I'll retweet the tweet so that everybody sees the video. But also just on a more personal first person level, somebody at CNN, one of our colleagues, was out there a week ago at the Capitol, plane closed. A lot of people were having trouble getting cell service, and they saw that this colleague of ours was looking at his phone. And so they all swarmed him. And what they were saying was, what is he saying?
Oh my God. These people are all drama queens. Have they never been in a riot before? Is this the first time they've ever experienced something like this? So I don't know what his commitment to democracy is here. Oh my God. What is Jake Tapper's commitment to democracy, by the way? What branch of the military was Jake Tapper in? Did he fight? Oh no, he just fought for Chelsea Clinton's mother-in-law after her crooked husband was indicted and sent off to federal prison for stealing millions of dollars from hardworking Americans, which he never bothered to repay, make restitution for. 844. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? Is he? How much crap is he taking on Twitter for saying that, Taylor?
Not much, because 9 minutes ago he tweeted out a painting of his dog.
A painting of his dog?
I'm sorry, dogs, plural.
Being a Democrat means never having to say you're sorry, I guess. 844-500-4242. So, you know, the Democrats have been saying, since people have started saying, well, you know, if you're so appalled by what happened at the Capitol, why weren't you appalled by the much more devastating riots, lootings, vandalism, murders, arson that took place over the summer? And so the Democrats' response always is, this is just whataboutism. Whataboutism. That means Mike Dukakis used to say whenever he was criticized, it's time to stop pointing the fingers. Well, this is the new version of this. It's time to stop pointing the fingers. It's just whataboutism. You can't compare one to the other. So as soon as people started tweeting out about what Jake Tapper, the terrible thing he said about Brian Mast, because he was voting against this sham, Star Chamber-like impeachment effort, that he had no commitment to democracy. So someone tweets out, well, you know, Tucker Carlson said that Tammy Duckworth, the senator from Illinois, is it Illinois or Wisconsin? I can never remember. Wisconsin, maybe. I can't. Whatever. She lost her legs and he called her a coward. So what is that whataboutism? Or is it only whataboutism when a Republican mentions the hypocrisy of the Democrats? And so is it so Tucker Carlson said this about Tammy Duckworth, the senator, but it makes it okay for him to say that a guy who lost both his legs overseas has no commitment to democracy? 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number of the Howie Carr Show. Why don't we take a lighter note here before we go back to the phone lines? Taylor, tell us about Charlie Parker getting his game shows mixed up today.
Oh, good Lord. It's like he never spent a day home sick watching daytime game shows or never watched the lead into Jeopardy. He doesn't know who Vanna White is. He doesn't know what they do on that show. He thinks it's Let's Make a Deal or The Price is Right. It's ridiculous how many game shows he got mixed up in one joke.
Doesn't he have the Game Show Network on his cable TV? I mean, he hasn't seen but 10 people for almost a year now. He tells us that every other day, right? I mean, you think he'd be watching a little more, chewing gum for the eyes.
Yeah, so you want me to play the cut here?
Absolutely.
Right.
With local hospitals, healthcare practices, community health centers, university health centers, or visiting nurse programs. Or number 3, sort of like Donna White. Is that who's the one that does the, you got that? Door number 3.
Donna White?
Donna White. Door number 3, Donna White. There are no doors on Wheel of Fortune. Her name is Vanna White. The doors are on Let's Make a Deal, right?
Yes.
And I think they have doors on The Price is Right as well. So.
Wow. I have one from another game show. Who is Donna White? That would stop everybody.
Yeah,
nobody knows who Donna White is.
Nobody knows.
All right, 844-500-4242. Every new year, all you hear is new year, new me. Usually that means you'll be picking up better habits or trying new things. It's easier to pick up a better habit or try a new thing if you have something pleasurable you can do while you're trying to do this new thing. Reform yourself, so to speak. And if you do take up a new hobby, it's even better when you have amazing audio that will make the experience even more enjoyable. That's why I recommend wireless earbuds from Raycon. Today on my bike ride, which I try to do every day now, at dawn, I was listening to my favorite Rolling Stones album of all time, Exile on Main Street. It's the one thing I agree with Bill Weld on. That is the best Rolling Stone album, a double album. It's great stuff, and it was made the ride much quicker, and I was listening to it on my Raycons. Whether it's following along to directions in the kitchen, binging on an audio book while learning to knit, or powering through a new workout with a pumped-up playlist in your ear, or listening to Exile on Main Street, a pair of Raycons make any activity easier and a better time. Raycon makes great sound accessible to everyone. Their wireless earbuds start at half the price of other premium audio brands. And guess what? If you think having white stems dangling out of your ears looks ridiculous, that's something you don't have to worry about with Raycons. They come in a range of stylish colorways, but always with a comfortable in-ear fit for a more discreet look. And they don't just look great, Raycons perform wherever you take them with up to 6 hours of playtime, water and sweat resistant construction, and Bluetooth that pairs quickly and seamlessly. Listen, you've heard me say this before, so if you still don't have a pair of Raycons, I've really got to wonder why. Like I said, it makes everything go better for you. And it makes everything go better for the people around you because they don't have to listen to what you like to hear. Raycon's offering 15% off all their products for my listeners, and here's what you've got to do to get it. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's it. You'll get 15% off your entire Raycon order, so feel free to grab a pair and a spare. That's 15% off buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
If you change the station, the Moonbats win. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Joe Biden doesn't have time for malarkey, and he also doesn't have a lot of time for geography. Take a listen.
The people of Nevada are watching, and I'm going to be out there seeing them very soon. Tonight, though, we just heard from the first 2 of 50 states. It's important that Iowa and Nevada have spoken, but look, we need to hear from Nevada and South Carolina and Super Tuesday states and beyond.
And Biden doesn't know the difference between Iran and Iraq. He's gotten it wrong 4 times.
We tried it in Iraq. It's not working, so now we're going to try, in Iran. Excuse me. We tried in Ukraine.
He always gets the name wrong.
I love this place. Look, what's not to like about Vermont in terms of the beauty of it? And what a neat town. This is sort of a scenic, beautiful town. I like Keene a lot.
How many times has he missed it? He's in Iowa. It's great to be in the great state of Ohio. And they say, Joe, you're in Iowa.
How many unsafe bridges you still have here in the state of Iowa? And I was just in Ohio because they have more.
Now's the perfect time to get a pair of premium wireless earbuds, and Raycon is the way to go. Raycon start at about half the price of other premium brands on the market, and they sound just as amazing. And Raycon's everyday E25 earbuds are their best model yet. You get 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a comfortable, noise-isolating fit. Perfect for conference calls, video chats, or binging podcasts. Raycon was founded by Ray J, and celebrities like Cardi B and J.R. Smith have already given Raycons their seal of approval. I love my Raycons, and Grace loves hers, too.
Howie, I love my Raycons. Best birthday gift ever.
I listen to much better music than she does, though.
Hey, that's not true.
Now it's your turn to see what the hype is all about. Go to buyraycon.com/Howie. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean. Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African-American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I can still teach you a few, kid. You're just a tin-horn thug and you always will be. You haven't got the guts to be anything else.
The Howie Carr Show.
844-500-4242. 508 says, how can you pick a favorite Stones album? Every album is my favorite, almost. No, but that's Exile on Main Street, though, is head and shoulders above anything else they did, I think. But then I think probably Blonde on Blonde and Highway 61 Revisited are the all-time best of Bob Dylan. I don't think anything else is close, and I know a lot of other people like different things. I guess, hey, that's what makes a record catalog, right? Some people like some things, some people like others. Take advantage of HelloFresh's New Year's sale and get simple recipes and fresh pre-portioned ingredients delivered right to your door, contact-free. Right now, get 10 free meals, including free shipping, during HelloFresh's New Year sale with code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. That's code Howie10 at HelloFresh.com. Taylor, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Do you plan on leaving Twitter?
Yes, I do.
34% say yes, 2% say no, 64% say they've never been on Twitter.
People are saying to me on the text line, why aren't you leaving immediately if you don't like them? Well, I want to have somewhere to post things like the sign outside the Lionville Tavern in Halifax. I mean, I know I can post it on my own website, but not everybody goes to my website. Whereas if I post it on Twitter, more people will see it. When Parler comes back, I'll get off Twitter. I promise.
The pictures are on the website, by the way.
They are on the website. So if you don't want to go to, if you've taken yourself off, and I know thousands of you have, just of my followers and millions probably of everybody's followers have left Twitter. But if you want to see them, you want to see this picture, HowieCarrShow.com, HowieCarrShow.com, and it's right there, and it's heartwarming. Let me put it that way. You know, the other thing I like about it, Taylor, the Chevy truck that's parked out front. You know, another kind of a middle finger to Charlie Parker. You know, this is someone who owns that truck is going to have to pay a lot more to fuel up after they triple the gas tax to just screw working people even more than they already have. Trucker Jason, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Trucker Jason.
Hey, Howie, I'm coming to you live from New York. I just wanted to give you my thoughts on the impeachment. Think of it as you will if you had a partner that cheated on you and they impeach you because they tell you that you drove that partner into the arms of another lover.
I don't know if that analogy quite works, Trucker Jason. I think it's more like some criminal gets shot after robbing a bank. I guess that doesn't work either because Trump's not a criminal. But how about this? Somebody in your family, you don't like them, they die. And so after they're dead, you say, we're going to bring the casket out here and everybody is going to scream and yell at the body. How about that? Is that a better analogy, Trucker John? He's gone. How do you impeach a guy who doesn't have the office anymore?
Well, actually, we all know why they're doing it, so he can't run for office in 2024, but it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out nonetheless. Yeah. But nonetheless, I'm a Trump supporter until infinity and beyond. And if I get my vehicle all lettered up in Trump, there's a good chance that it might be someone might riot or destroy it or vandalize it. But that's the difference between a Trump supporter and a Biden supporter. If you're a Biden supporter, we're not going to destroy your property.
Right.
But if you're a Trump supporter and you show your support, they're going to threaten to come after your property.
Exactly. It's been 4+ years of projection. Everything that they've accused us of doing, they've wanted to do. They tried to do under Obama with the Clinton campaign and Russian collusion, and now they're going to try to do it, amp it up, double down on their oppression.
Howie, I've been thinking of when I should take the Trump bumper sticker off my car.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense to. I mean, there are people still driving around with Bernie stickers from the first time he ran.
How about it goes back further than that? How about Bush lied, people died? You still see those around in places like Cambridge occasionally, right?
That's a rare sight, but possibly I haven't seen one. I'm sure they're out there.
They are out there. They're out there on those early edition Priuses. Thanks for the call, Trucker Jason. Sam, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Sam.
Hi, Howie. First time, long time.
Thank you.
I'm appalled at the comment of the reporter about the congressman from Florida. The audacity of someone to question someone's democracy abroad and then their democracy at home. This guy probably couldn't carry this guy's shoes down a hallway. I mean, where do these people get off? And they have no kindness or sympathy or pride, but they just point fingers, and it's appalling how they can name call and be degrading to a gentleman who was going to give his life for this country. And he can look down every day and see there's no legs, and that's his remembrance, and this is how he's spoken about. It's appalling.
I know. And again, this guy's track record, he is a former hireling of the Clinton crime family. That's his background. That's how he wormed his way into the media. You know, he's and again, to accuse anybody of anything else, and it's not like this guy Brian Mast took a payoff or anything, or somehow betrayed his trust. He made the vote that his constituents elected him to make. He exercised his judgment, and I think it was his good judgment, as opposed to Jake Tapper, who exercised his bad judgment. His only constituency is the Democrat Party. I'm Howie Carr.
Howie, Trump put out a 5-minute video. I haven't seen any of it yet, but you can play it if you want.
Okay, can we listen to it during the break?
Yeah, sure. Let me get it for you. Hold on.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement. Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag. No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement, you are attacking it, and you are attacking our country. We cannot tolerate it. Tragically, over the course of the past year, made so difficult because of COVID-19, we have seen political violence spiral out of control. We have seen too many riots, too many mobs, too many acts of intimidation and destruction. It must stop. Whether you are on the right or on the left, a Democrat or a Republican, there is never a justification for violence No excuses, no exceptions. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice. Now I am asking everyone who has ever believed in our agenda to be thinking of ways to ease tensions, calm tempers, and help to promote peace in our country. There has been reporting that additional demonstrations are being planned in the coming days, both here in Washington and across the country. I have been briefed by the U.S. Secret Service on the potential threats. Every American deserves to have their voice heard in a respectful and peaceful way. That is your First Amendment right. But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. Everyone must follow our laws and obey the instructions of law enforcement. I have directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order. In Washington, D.C., we are bringing in thousands of National Guard members to secure the city and ensure that a transition can occur safely and without incident. Like all of you, I was shocked and deeply saddened by the calamity at the Capitol last week. I want to thank the hundreds of millions of incredible American citizens who have responded to this moment with calm, moderation, and grace. We will get through this challenge just like we always do. I also want to say a few words about the unprecedented assault on free speech we have seen in recent days. These are tense and difficult times. The efforts to censor, cancel, and blacklist our fellow citizens are wrong, and they are dangerous. What is needed now is for us to listen to one another, not to silence one another. All of us can choose by our actions to rise above the rancor and find common ground and shared purpose. We must focus on advancing the interests of the whole nation, delivering the miracle vaccines, defeating the pandemic, rebuilding the economy, protecting our national.
Coming back.
Okay, we'll play. Let me set it up and we'll play it. Okay.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
844-500-4242. President Trump just released videotaped remarks, and we listened to part of it. I didn't hear him mention anything about the impeachment. It was very conciliatory comments. He talked about how everybody had to behave themselves. We will use all necessary resources to maintain order. He was, quote, shocked and deeply saddened by the calamity last week. And then what I listened to, I didn't listen to the whole thing. He mentioned also the unprecedented assault on free speech, meaning what we've been talking about all afternoon. So given the fact that probably the left-wing media is not going to air the speech because they haven't been airing anything he's been saying lately, we're going to play the whole thing right now. It runs about 5 minutes. So here's the president's remarks just released on tape.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the troubling events of the past week. As I have said, the incursion of the U.S. Capitol struck at the very heart of our republic. It angered and appalled millions of Americans across the political spectrum. I want to be very clear. I unequivocally condemn the violence that we saw last week. Violence and vandalism have absolutely no place in our country and no place in our movement.
Your mic's off, Howie.
Making America great again has always been about defending the rule of law, supporting the men and women of law enforcement, and upholding our nation's most sacred traditions and values. Mob violence goes against everything I believe in and everything our movement stands for. No true supporter of mine could ever endorse political violence. No true supporter of mine could ever disrespect law enforcement or our great American flag. No true supporter of mine could ever threaten or harass their fellow Americans. If you do any of these things, you are not supporting our movement. You are attacking it, and you are attacking our country. We cannot tolerate it. Tragically, over the course of the past year, made so difficult because of COVID-19, we have seen political violence spiral out of control. We have seen too many riots, too many mobs, too many acts of intimidation and destruction. It must stop. Whether you are on the right or on the left, a Democrat or a Republican, there is never a justification for violence. No excuses, no exceptions. America is a nation of laws. Those who engaged in the attacks last week will be brought to justice. Now I am asking everyone who has ever believed in our agenda to be thinking of ways to ease tensions, calm tempers, and help to promote peace in our country. There has been reporting that additional demonstrations are being planned in the coming days, both here in Washington and across the country. I have been briefed by the U.S. Secret Service on the potential threats. Every American deserves to have their voice heard in a respectful and peaceful way. That is your First Amendment right. But I cannot emphasize that there must be no violence, no law breaking, and no vandalism of any kind. Everyone must follow our laws and obey the instructions of law enforcement. I have directed federal agencies to use all necessary resources to maintain order. In Washington, D.C., we are bringing in thousands of National Guard members to secure the city and ensure that a transition can occur safely and without incident. Like all of you, I was shocked and deeply saddened by the calamity at the Capitol last week. I want to thank the hundreds of millions of incredible American citizens who have responded to this moment with calm, moderation, and grace. We will get through this challenge just like we always do. I also want to say a few words about the unprecedented assault on free speech we have seen in recent days. These are tense and difficult times. The efforts to censor, cancel, and blacklist our fellow citizens are wrong, and they are dangerous. What is needed now is for us to listen to one another, not to silence one another. All of us can choose by our actions to rise above the rancor and find common ground and shared purpose. We must focus on advancing the interests of the whole nation, delivering the miracle vaccines, defeating the pandemic, rebuilding the economy, protecting our national security, and upholding the rule of law. Today, I am calling on all Americans to overcome the passions of the moment and join together as one American people. Let us choose to move forward united for the good of our families, our communities, and our country. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
That's the president's speech. It was a well-delivered, sober commentary, and if the Democrat operatives with press passes had any class, they would acknowledge that and say that it was a good speech. They could even quote Shakespeare and Macbeth, talking about the death of the Thane of Cawdor. Nothing in his life became him like the leaving it. I mean, he's classy. I mean, and again, he's not combative. He's not snarky. He's not snide. He's just pointing it out. And he didn't even mention the impeachment, which was probably a good thing to do because it wasn't worth mentioning. It's just so absurd. But I'm glad he mentioned the as he put it, the unprecedented assault on free speech, because that's what it is. It is an unprecedented assault on free speech. All right, 844-500-4242. I'll be interested in seeing if they run it. Maybe they'll say, "Oh, he's finally surrendered. He's finally giving up the ghost." Maybe they'll say that. I don't know what they'll say. It won't be. It won't be equally conciliatory as the president was. I'll tell you that. Rocky, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Rocky.
Hey, Howie. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, President Trump, he really can talk off the cuff, unlike that moron in the basement. But anyway, what I want to say is this is never going to end. He is not president. He's not legit. They threw your vote, 75 million of our votes, in the trash. And it's not going to end. We're not just going to I'm not talking about violence. I'm just saying it's going to be them against us. It's never going to end. They overthrew this government. They know it. And we're just not going to, I'm not putting up with it. I mean, he's not the president. He may go in the White House.
I mean, what are you going to do though, Rocky? I mean, I know I'm just going to try to, I'm not, are you watching TV every night, by the way, Rocky?
No, I watch Hogan's Heroes on MeTV and the Beverly Hillbillies and all that stuff. I don't watch the news. There's nothing on there.
No, I don't either. It just drives me crazy. And I agree. I mean, people are just going to turn their backs on this. I mean, you stay involved in local news, local issues, and you maybe support people that you're in favor of. But I'm not going to watch the State of the Union address. Are you? Hell no.
No, of course not. Hey, Howie, one other thing before I get off. I heard Parker was on, what was it? Let's Make a Deal. He wanted to take what was behind door number 5 where Carol Merrill was standing. Huh?
Stop it. 844-500-4242. That's the toll-free number. We'll open up the lines and take some calls here at the end. What did you think of the president's speech? Again, I thought it was a totally appropriate way. And he honestly, I don't trust the FBI when they say, "Oh, there are all these there's all this violence planned." I don't buy that. That's not what the Trump people do. I mean, those people who did that was a handful of people. The vast majority of people who were at that rally last week were peaceful. They were law abiding, and they didn't do what they're being accused of doing. And again, the ones who did it, go ahead, prosecute them. I condemn what they did. I can't say it enough. I say it over and over. I don't condone any violence, nor does anyone who was there whose lives are being destroyed now, who are losing their jobs, who are like Elise Stefanik, the congresswoman from New York State. She's been thrown off some Harvard board. But I mean, are they gonna throw Juliet Kayyem off of whatever position she has at Harvard for saying that Trump is the spiritual and operational domestic terrorism leader? I mean, that's much more inflammatory than anything that Elise Stefanik did as part of her duties as a member of the nation's legislature, the House of Representatives. But she has to be shamed and shunned, whereas Juliet Kayyem will be toasted in the Cambridge and Brookline salons for calling him a terrorism leader. It's absurd. Session, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Session.
Howie, long-time listener, doing with Jerry Williams. Anyway, Howie, these are dangerous times.
Yes, they
Sunday, are. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Twitter, and Google all combined together on Sunday and choked Parler to death. And Parler was potentially a $10 billion company. They had 20 million subscribers. And this is almost like Stasi in East Germany. Is this a democracy anymore?
I know. I know. You know, and they Session. They also say that the Stasi in East Germany, they had a certain percentage of the population. They ranged between 2 and 10% who were informers, and now all these states have Stasi-like informer lines. You call up. Now New Hampshire says if you see someone in a mask, not wearing a mask, you call the cops. I mean, what kind of country is this, Session?
Yeah, immigrants come here because of the freedom. And if this is happening in America, where do we go?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, Ronald Reagan said that back 40 years ago, Session. He said, if we lose this, there's nowhere to go. And it's truer today than it was when he first said it.
Yeah, the Democrats are so scary. I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm really scared. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm so scared now.
Hey, Session, thanks for sending me that anonymous note from the internet, by the way, that the thank you letter to Donald Trump. That was really a great letter that somebody wrote. Very simple, very direct, and really expressed what millions of us are feeling. Thank you, Session. I appreciate it. Sticking to your New Year's resolution is a matter of making one right decision at a time. One right decision at a time. And some of my past New Year's resolutions were to, read more, do more exercise, eat more healthily. And some resolutions are easier to observe than others. If you're looking to institute some healthy habits and improve your lifestyle this year, you need to check out SuperBeats Heart Chews. I'm holding them in my hand right now. They're wrapped in foil like candy. They taste great, but they're really good for your heart health, for your circulation, for your blood pressure. Whatever you do, you're going to feel better if you get into the habit. You make a resolution to use SuperBeats Heart Chews. Just 2 SuperBeats Heart Chews per day give you the cardiovascular support and promote the heart-healthy energy you need to chase your goals all year long. SuperBeats Heart Chews combine non-GMO beets and clinically researched grapeseed extract shown to be twice as effective at supporting normal blood pressure as a healthy lifestyle alone. When it comes to implementing healthy habits this year, adding SuperBeats Heart Chews to your daily routine is an easy decision to make. And now you can get a free 30-day supply of SuperBeats Heart Chews plus a free 30-day supply of their new delicious flavor, Super Grapes, with your first purchase by going to superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's 2 free gifts valued at over $50. Only available at superbeatsradio.com/Howie. That's superbeatsradio.com/Howie. I'm Howie Carr.
He's the maestro of microaggression. He's Howie Carr.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600,000+ people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. Now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion, 500,000. 50,000. A class of 25, you end up having 2 classes of 12, for example. But in the 2020 census, which is now 2 censuses ago, the Oval back in May 9, 2019, a $15 million, $15,000 minimum wage. I got to the Senate 180 years ago.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac. He's not. You say he lives on. Not alive. I know. I keep doing that.
A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
Got hate mail?
You bloated idiot! You stupid fat you!
Send it to Grace at HowieCarShow.com.
844-500-4242. And again, tonight, check out the photograph either at HowieCarShow.com or on Twitter of the sign out in front of the Lionville Tavern in Halifax, Massachusetts. The sign, it's a nice sign. Charlie Baker, take 25% of your pay, because he's imposed restaurant restrictions, only 25% of their capacity. So they're saying, are you going to take 25% of your pay when you're keeping us down to 25%? It's a beautiful thought. And we're going to have the manager of the restaurant, Debbie Trotta, on tomorrow night at 6:00. It's great. And again, wouldn't it be great to see that in front of every restaurant that survived, just as a form of protest against this ridiculous draconian lockdown, where the hacks have had a career year. They've all made more money than they ever made before, while crushing everybody in the private sector, killing 1 out of every 8 people in nursing homes through their miss, and nonfeasance, et cetera, et cetera. Matt, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, how's it going, Howie?
Good.
I just want to say I listened to that 5-minute Trump clip that you just played for us, and I was really impressed. I'm driving along in my car, and I just said wow at the top of my lungs at the end of it. I'm a Bernie Democrat. Was knocking on doors for Bernie last January and February, and I don't know. It seemed pretty genuine. I thought he was saying the right stuff, and it feels like too little, too late, sadly.
That's probably what they'll say if they play it at all, Matt, on the alt left TV stations. But he hit the right notes. I mean, that's a cliche, but I think he hit the right notes, and I'm glad he didn't go on about impeachment and leave the ad hominems to, shall we say, to me and Mark Levin and everybody else. We can tell you about Nadler and Swalwell and Pelosi et al. Thanks for the call, Matt. Karen, you're next with Howie Carr. Go ahead, Karen.
So anyway, this is a bunch of BS. Every one of these Trump things that people have gotten together about, there's never been any problem whatsoever. This last one, I don't think that he had anything really much to do with it. I just think that, people are upset with all of the stuff. I mean, the Democrats are just getting so much power that people keep stepping up. You hear these people from Hollywood I've never even heard of making statements and different things. People are scared.
You know, you're right, Karen. That makes two of us. Most of these people I hear say, "Did you hear what so-and-so said on Twitter?" Who? I never heard of this person.
And, you know, people are scared. So I think some of these people that are stepping up right now and saying that he should be impeached, they're doing it because they're scared, because there's so much power going around now that people are they're afraid that their families are going to be, you know, there's been people that they're going after people's families. And,
Right. I know one of the Democrats said, "Oh, the Republicans are scared that their voters are going to kill them." No, they're concerned that you're going to shun them and destroy their lives. The Democrats on social media. I'm Howie Carr.